Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the RayQuest Podcast, episode 2. Today's theme is Omniverse, or Ben 10 in general. I'm StevRayBro, and this is my friend Tristan.
Hello, folks.
And we just had to hit record because we started talking about stuff, and we're just like, no, wait, that would make a good podcast. What are we doing? So, Ben 10 just ended for the 5 people and me that really like Ben 10. Ben 10's a little bit of a guilty pleasure of mine. I've been following it ever since Digimon ended. It was in that right spot where Digimon, the show, just kind of stopped airing, and then I needed something where shit turns into other shit. That's that genre.
And there wasn't a good Transformers series on for you at the time.
And just Ben 10 kind of stuck with me. It was just one of those things where I kind of watched by myself, and now I'm finally ready to come out of the cartoon closet and finally talk about. I like Ben 10. It's like I don't normally consider anything a guilty pleasure. Why? But that's the one where I'm like, when a theme song comes on, I kind of mute it before so no one can hear.
But as soon as one of those kids start talking, you know that show's on.
Yeah, so Ben 10, it's for the people that don't know what that is, it's basically a show about a kid who gets a watch, alien watch, and he's able to push down a button, and he turns into one of 10, and now a lot more. The 10 is just so it can rhyme with Ben. Mm-hmm. It was never intended just to be 10, and because I think like the 11th episode in the series, there's a new alien.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I mean, it actually has some history. I believe it's always been on Cartoon Network, right?
It's always been a Cartoon Original Network series.
So it's a Warner Brothers owned cartoon. Warner Brothers owns DC Universe. Mm-hmm. There was a hero in the Silver Age of comics called Dial H for Hero.
Yep, it's basically what a lot of people kind of like claim that's a ripoff of it, or at least heavily inspired by it. But in that particular comic, it's also a kid, I believe, or it's a kid that pushes down on a watch and he summons heroes or turns into.
He turns into a random hero. It's a different hero every issue.
Yeah, and so you can kind of see where. Actually, if you go back and look at some of the concept art of Ben 10,
it was superheroes.
It was superheroes. They weren't like they were alien superheroes. They had capes. It wasn't just like it's just randomly a guy with 4 arms. It was a superhero that had 4 arms. Oh, I thought you were going to say something. So I let air.
Tumbleweed.
So Ben 10's been going on for basically a little bit over a decade. It's lasted a little while, and it actually celebrated 200 episodes. That was one of the episodes that you got to watch recently.
Not many shows can say that.
Yeah, no, it's pretty amazing. It consists of 4 different series. It's got Ben 10. That's the first one where, by the way, our recap this week is not going to be the whole podcast. We have lots to talk about. But Ben 10, the first series, is actually just Ben and his cousin Gwen that he doesn't care for go on a road trip cross country with their grandpa Max, and Ben gets a watch that turns them into aliens. Grandpa turns out to be a plumber, a secret agent of Men in Black styled. Basically, they just hunt aliens and get them off the planet. And that's basically the plot. They just go around all summer. Series 2 is Alien Force. This is where randomly Ben doesn't have the watch anymore. He puts it back on. It reformats. It resets back to the 10 aliens, 10 new aliens that all seem mixed and match powers. And he teams up with a villain from the previous series, Kevin, who is reformed. It's still a little shady, but reformed. And his cousin Gwen still helps him out. Grandpa Max is missing. And the first season is basically him trying to find his grandfather, and they find this evil alien conspiracy with the hybrid, a alien race that's so pure and inbred that they're impotent. That's the finale. They just find out that they just can't have sex anymore. And then after the season 2, I think it's season 1 or 2, it just becomes anything and everything, which leads into Ultimate Alien, where the Omnitrix is replaced with the Ultramatrix. Basically, Ben destroys his own Omnitrix and then takes a bad guy's version of it, which gives him the ability to Digimon rules, basically.
Mega evolve.
He just evolves. It's funny, Pokemon just started doing it. So Pokemon didn't rip off Digimon, they ripped off Ben 10, which ripped off Digimon. And then finally, Omniverse, which was a complete style, basically it kind of turned into Teen Titans.
Soft reboot.
It was some of a soft reboot. It still continued, but it's weird because it doesn't just focus on the present. With the title Omniverse, you think it's just a pun on the fact that it's Omnitrix and then Universe. But Omniverse is actually a term, it turns out, which means like all universe in a way. And so it does show a lot of different dimensions, different versions of Ben. It shows a lot of pre-timeline. So like while the main story focuses on a 16-year-old Ben, it also features a 11-year-old Ben, which is 1 year older than the original series. So it's still like going forward, but it's just interesting that random episodes just happen to take place in the past instead of the present, and even later on in the series, it starts taking place in the future.
Yeah, and then you throw in multiverses and all sorts of fun sci-fi stuff.
Yeah, and so it's very much kind of like Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated or Transformers Animated in the sense of it's definitely true and it loves the original series, but it kind of gives its own flavor. And a lot of people are very upset with this because Omniverse doesn't have the same art style or the same direction that the previous two, Ultimate Alien and Alien Force, had. Which, by the way, again, for you guys who are not familiar with, Ultimate Alien and Alien Force were essentially the same show, just they changed the name to
toy sales.
Just toys. That's really all it was. It turns out, actually, Tristan's a really big fan of toys, a lot bigger than I am. Like, I watch most cartoons and think, man, this is a really good cartoon. He's over here, like, thinking, man, this is going to make a really good toy.
Pretty much.
And so
the gears are turning.
So after so many seasons of a show, and Power Rangers is a really big thing with that, right?
Recently. Like, you can't have the same toy line on a shelf 2 years in a row. So, Power Rangers now has to add Super somewhere in its title. So now we have Power Rangers Super Mega Force. Sorry, I threw up in my mouth a little bit.
Super Mega Force upsets me because it should be Pirate Rangers. Like that they should have just skipped the whole adding a subtitle and just change it from Power Rangers to Pirate Rangers. I wanted that so bad. And
well, when you've got Jonathan Zakor, who's known for just copy-pasting the Sentai, the fact that we got anything original is kind of amazing.
See, apparently in the new Power Rangers show, I don't watch it because it's terrible. They instead of like making them pirate themed, like they have pirate hats, they have pirate swords, they have a pirate Zord that's a boat, and they're not actually referred to by any means as pirates. They're just Super Mega Force.
Yep,
it's super upsetting to me because I love pirates. I love One Piece. I love the pirate movies. I dress up as pirates whenever I get a chance. Pirates are awesome.
So Ben 10 Pirate Force. That's what we need.
I would watch that. I would watch that so hardcore. Just every alien having different voices and just, with a pirate accent. I can't really do any of the
Four args!
Four args. Four args! I can kind of do Echo. It's like, that's not good. I'm trying.
Here's a throat lozenge.
Anyways, that's enough Pirate Rangers. So a lot of people are very upset with Omniverse because it went from so Alien Force and Ultimate Alien, compared to the original series, was very much a grown-up version of it. What happened was Ben 10, the original series, lasted about 4 seasons, which is pretty impressive. It was about 50 episodes on its own. I actually own all of them. During college or a little bit after college, I decided to start buying box sets. Right now, we're both looking over there. I have a closet that's just built into my wall. It's not like a regular closet. It's just like an opening, and I have all my games and all my movies there, and I just have this sectioned off area to just movies, and I don't see them. Where are they? Oh, there they are. They're underneath the bedazzled. It used to be in alphabetical order.
No, B-E-D, then B-E-N. You're good.
So, anyways, so Ben 10, it was pretty consistent. And overall, it was a pretty solid show. Mm-hmm. In terms of art direction, it definitely has a lot more money put into it, or at least it looks a lot better than the successors, including Omniverse in certain areas. But it was really good. My only really complaint with it was Ben might act a little too much like a 10-year-old.
Well, both Ben and Gwen are actually fairly consistent in acting like children.
Right. It was a little too show accurate. I know I have some people who are like, well, I have a nephew and he's cool. And it's every 10-year-old I've ever run into tends to be really egotistical. They don't like to lose. They like to build themselves up really hardcore, and they don't like to get in trouble. They like to do things, but they like to, they think they're making other people perceive them in a certain way.
So you could say Ben thinks he's the center of the Omniverse.
Oh boy, this is the podcast. Be exciting, folks. Anyways, and so they are pretty consistent, and I do know that kids tend to bicker, but a lot of the dialogue, even when it's unnecessary, like it's not like nothing happens for them to start bickering, they do start bickering, and I can see where a lot of people get turned off by that.
Yeah.
And I mean, for the most part, I really watch it for Max. Grandpa Max was awesome in the first series. He's just a really cool guy. He's voiced by someone from Metal Gear Solid. I'm not like a big Metal Gear fan.
Is it David Hayter?
I don't know his name. I just know that it's like the Colonel or something.
Oh, okay.
And so it's so good. And then there's a lot of really good voice actors when it comes to aliens. You have Stephen Blum as Heat Blast. And let's see, Rob Paulson was Ditto from season 3 and onward. I'm a big Rob Paulson fan. He has a podcast of his own, which you guys should be probably watching and not mine.
Talking Tunes.
Great
show.
Great advertisement for my channel.
Sorry. You're welcome, Rob.
But yeah, so there's a lot of really good voice acting and a lot of good talent. I guess my only really complaint is the kids, you know? I mean, not every episode's perfect on it. There's definitely, like, when I watch it, I don't really watch much of the first season. I really like it after they started adding aliens. Cannonbolt's probably my favorite, at least at the original set of episodes. I actually really like Snarrow is his name now, but in the original series it was just called Ben Mummy. Because in the original series they had a set of a trio of horror-themed monsters. There was in season 3, the overarching plot, each season had kind of a main villain, if you will, and that one was one of Ben's aliens actually turned into a villain. And basically, he always felt really creeped out by Ghost Freak. He always felt like there was someone with him when he was transformed into it, and it turns out that their conscience, that particular species of alien, I can't remember what they're actually called, so I'm just going to call them Ghost Freaks, but their personality and actual, like, mind is within their DNA. So you having a sample of it inside the watch meant that the guy was basically immortal because he was in there. He finally escaped, but he wasn't completely full. He needed to merge with Ben to get all of his DNA or something like that. It's been a while since I watched it, but that's kind of the plot.
Yeah.
And he had a couple of sidekicks. No, I guess henchmen.
Yeah.
One was Ben Victor, I know the Ben versions of the names. Now he's Frankenstrike. Omniverse actually did a lot for the original series. They took what they liked from both series and kind of like merged them together, and then things they didn't like they kind of fixed, which that's arguable for some people. But Ben Mummy, which was a mummy alien, looks really cool. He is called Snarrow now instead of Pharaoh. Snarrow. Ben Victor, which was a Frankenstein monster, he's now Frankenstrike, because he's a lightning based. And then Ben Wolf, which is a werewolf villain or alien, is I think Wolf Blitzer or Blitzwolf or something like that.
Blitzwolf sounds cool.
Yeah, so
sounds right up Derek J. Wyatt's methodology.
So those 3 were in there, and so yeah, I mean, like, basically the show ended with a TV special where they met the creator of the watch, which turns out to be Gray Matter, this little alien that really funny in the original series. Ben hate turning into him. Like, the running gag is that Ben, like, he's a kid, right? So he likes powerful things. And so he always wanted to turn into either Diamond Head or Forearms. Forearms was the one he always wanted to go to. And because he was a 10-year-old, didn't really understand the watch, he always had accidental transformations. And every time he wanted the Forearms, he always turned into Gray Matter, which is the opposite of his style. His style was punch a bunch of things and ask questions later. With Gray Matter, it was just, he's a little tiny guy.
It's like he had to think his way out of it.
Yeah, which really brought in a lot of drama that the future series kind of lost. Was Ben didn't... Like, the watch was actually a prototype, as we found out later on. And it didn't really have that many abilities. Like, it only had a 10-minute meter. Like, you could only be an alien for 10 minutes, and then you had 10 minutes to wait for it to recharge. And...
bit of a nod to Ultraman in that, too.
Yeah, but it was really good, because the reason why they did that was it gave a sense of drama. There's different things where the writers could be like, oh, he accidentally changes back. Oh no, he has to like dodge or hide or find something else to do in that manner of time, which is always cool. It's supposed to be 10 minutes, but of course within the time of the series, sometimes it feels like it's only been a minute's passed or something like that, which is always really cool. And like I said, it adds a lot of drama. In the future episodes with Alien Force and Ultimate Alien, and even with Omniverse, there's no real timeout. It always seems to be like he's able to just transform right back, and that's something with the Ultimate Alien that really did that. And then Omniverse, I don't think there's any rule. I think he just turns back when it's convenient to plot.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, Sorry, I feel like I'm talking. Like there's 2 of us in here.
You know more about this series than I do. I really like this series. I do. I was out of the loop for a very long time, and I'm just now catching up.
I think you actually got to hear my opinion as I went through it, though, because I remember talking to you like when we were in school together.
Yeah. No, it's. I mean, I think you were the one who got me to start watching the show again. Pretty much each season, it's like I'd get in and then something else would distract me.
Yeah. Which is fine, because like I said, it's not the greatest series of all time or anything like that. I even consider it a guilty pleasure. Like it's one of those things where I don't really advertise that I watch it too often. Until now.
Bandai, our check will be in the mail, right?
I wish. Okay, so Alien Force. So randomly, there's no sign of it in the original Ben 10 series, but in Alien Force, Ben just doesn't have the watch anymore. Apparently, at some point between then and there, he took off the watch for whatever reason. I guess he decided he wanted to have an ordinary life. I can't imagine if Ben from 10-year-old to 15 would be like, I'm done with the superhero thing.
Puberty's a bitch.
Especially with how his personality evolves as it goes through. But that's a little bit of a thing we'll get to when we get closer to Ultimate Alien. But in this version of the series, Ben has gotten a lot more mature. It's a lot darker. In fact, with the original series, there's a lot of really cool angles with the camera. There's a lot of cool lighting effects, like Heat Blast. Stephen Blum's character they voice a lot. He tend to always have some kind of special effect on the fire. Like, because he's made up of fire, and there's always kind of like these little particles inside of him, which, that costs extra money to have instead of just having regularly. And when Heat Blast does appear in Ultimate Alien, Alien Force, it's not there. And I feel, basically what happened was, Dwayne McDuffie, the late great Dwayne McDuffie, the creator of Static Shock, and he worked on a lot of television properties for Warner Brothers, especially, superhero stuff. By the way, the reason why I'm kind of like, there's kind of a tone in my voice that's changed is I love and hate the guys, like what he did to Ben 10. He passed away between Ultimate Alien and Omniverse, and the last episode of Ultimate Alien was dedicated to the guy. So I guess take a moment to appreciate him. Word to his family. And so basically he was put as a showrunner. They gave him the show, and they're like, hey, look, ratings are down. The people that grew up with Ben 10, 4 seasons ago, have kind of matured a little bit. We need a slightly darker, a more, we want to, get some of the older people back into the show. And so they made the darker version of it, Alien Force. This is, right off the bat, it's definitely a different tone. Grandpa Max is missing. The character's a little bit older. Ben's actually, a character. He's not just a 10-year-old. It's really cool that he's actually matured a little bit.
Yeah.
There's definitely some quietness to it. But the art style is a little less.
Simpler?
Yeah. While the original show was a little bit more organic with its lines, this show, you could definitely tell that everything's a little bit more angular. There's a lot more straight lines. And a lot of the direction of the actual camera changes from, unique angles to things to where it's always 3/4 view. It's definitely a cheaper show, and that's probably not Dwayne McDuffie's fault. That's probably more of a mandate for Cartoon Network. Hey, ratings are lower, you get less money, make the same quality show. This is a guess, not this is an assumption. But
just assume all corporations are evil. That's all you got to do.
And so with this one, and then Kevin's back, and they're like I said, because they're older, they make such a lot of smarter decisions, and it's a lot of slow, it's a little bit slower too.
It's a slow burn.
Yeah, slow burn.
Yeah, there's different types of wicks for candles and stuff, or dynamite. So they'll burn slower, and I've just always heard that used for shows. That some shows are very quick. And you get right to the plot and to the resolution, and others it's kind of eases in or hits the boom a lot later.
Yeah, and so with this one, it's just you could definitely tell they had a story arc plan. They knew exactly what they wanted to do, and every episode was a crucial part. Versus the original series, there's in the middle of one of the seasons, there's just hey, let's do a Christmas episode where some elves think Grandpa Max is Santa Claus. Also, let's include a cameo to Naruto.
I mean, it was they had a lot more freedom to kind of do one-off stuff. Mm-hmm. Because they didn't know if this show was going to be successful or not.
But yeah, so like the original series is a lot more fun. Fun and action. But then you have Alien Force, where it's a little bit more drama and story. It still had action, but it wasn't the same thing. Basically, Ben puts on the watch again, and it turns into a more traditional watch. It doesn't look like it's from Alien, which was always a big downside for me. As the watches got as they redid watches, it became less and less Alien tech and more just kind of looks human.
Goes from big old watch to Apple Watch.
Yeah, I mean, essentially that's what it did. But, the original watch was this big, bulky thing. It had tubes going into it. It looked like it was stuck on his arm. Every watch beyond that point was really loose-fitting, and, if you wore it, it would move around, versus the other one felt like it was permanent. It would latch onto anything and kind of mutate to fit. This one was just pure technology, no organic. And with the new watch, you got 10 new aliens, and they were all kind of mix mashes of the original set. You had Four Arms, which was really strong. Now you have Humongosaur, which was really, really strong. It could grow. So he was a combination of, Four Arms and way big. Then you have Swamp Fire, who was Heat Blast and Wild Vine. I think that was his name. Yeah. I'm probably going to get these wrong. But
just think of a bad pun and it'll probably cover it.
Probably. And so, you had Ditto, who had the ability to transform, duplicate. And then you had, they basically took that and they're like, well, what if we gave him sonic powers so he can shoot, sonic beams, or, I don't know if sonic beams is the correct way of saying it.
Sound waves.
Sound waves, yeah. So they just kind of, took different concepts and remixed them, if you will, which felt really odd when they started adding old aliens to the roster again.
It's what do I need this guy for? I've got 2 in 1. You
don't need Wild Vine or Heat Blast anymore. You have a guy that shoots fire and controls plants. So basically what happened was they reformatted it, and then you had this plot where the hybrid were trying to eliminate all aliens out there. And this is a different shift in the story where everything started to become alien. Everything was alien. In the original series, Gwen, there was kind of a really cool balance between the trio. You had Ben, who had alien powers. He could turn into aliens. You had Gwen, who was there was a couple of magic-based villains, and she started, as the series picked up, it was really cool how it worked. I think first season you ran into Hex, who has the ability to do magic, and she gets some of the powers by finding these items and using them, and she made her own superhero.
Yeah, Lucky Girl.
Which is the worst name ever.
It's a name a kid would think of, though.
It's true. It's a 10-year-old name, and it did fit what it was. Basically, she had luck-based powers. She could, instead of falling over, normally she would just keep her balance, even though anyone else would fall over. And so she associated with luck. And then as the series progressed, she got actual magic powers. She was able to shoot beams and be able to create platforms for her to stand on.
She got Green Lantern powers, basically.
Essentially, yes. Even further so in the next series. And then you had Grandpa Max, who had tech. That was his thing. He was a knowledgeable one. He knew all this stuff because he secretly was a plumber. After the season 1, you find out, and he's able to just give you what's this Tantra Man doing here? Stuff like that. Stuff that we don't know, but he does. And it worked well. So you had a good balance of alien, technology, and magic. Well, when it came to Alien Force, it was Ben still had alien powers. Gwen had magic that was turned into alien. It turns out that Ben and Gwen are related to an alien species that's made of magic, which is not actually magic. It's mana, which is alien essence. They basically took everything from the first series where Gwen was slowly learning it to, she didn't really have to try that hard because she naturally had the abilities. Mm-hmm. Which was kind of a bummer. I didn't like that personally.
What even made that worse was seeing her in the Ben 10,000 episode, the first one they ever did.
Where she still had magic powers?
Where she was magic, and she was still kind of that ambitious, studious type person, where it was just
With Omniverse having so much with time travel, I want to hold off for that conversation, because there's plenty of that to be had.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And then you add Kevin to the mix, which was a villain. He was a mutant in the first series. He basically, when he was introduced, he's able to absorb energy. That was his power. And he was able to absorb the energy from the watch with the Omnitrix, and he was able to, the side effect of that was he was, half the alien for a bit. How much he absorbed, he would have so much of his body. So, imagine a kid having, half, heat blast. which looked really awesome.
Yeah.
And then the side effect of that was, as he like reappeared, he was able to turn into all 10 of Ben's aliens at the time, and then eventually he became unstable and turned into all the aliens at once, which was this huge mix match. And he blamed Ben for it and went a little crazy and got really upset. And he was a really cool villain to have around.
Yeah.
Well, then they locked him in the Null Void, which is this little pocket dimension where if you don't want people around, you put them there. They can't get out. Essentially, it's a prison, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And so, boom, you go to the alien force. He's out. He's no longer mutated. No explanation whatsoever. Just, I got better. I think that might be the line they said. But his powers is no longer absorbing energy.
Yeah, he's got, like, matter absorption now.
Yeah, which is a DC villain, or a DC superhero.
Marvel has the Absorbing Man, which they really pulled a lot of ideas from, because, like, whatever Absorbing Man touches, he can cover himself in it.
Which, now, you just replace Absorbing Man with Kevin, and you just explained everything.
Yeah.
So, instead of absorbing energy, he now absorbs matter, or just material.
The molecular makeup, I would guess.
And so, like, say if he touched metal, he basically turns metal, but it's not turned metal. Like, it's like a shell. So, like, if you hit him hard enough, it breaks off and you can see skin again. And, so that was the thing. And it turns out he wasn't actually a mutant, he's just part alien. He was a Mosian.
Osmosian, yeah.
Yeah, and it's just like, so, okay, cool, all three of our guys are aliens. And just, that's how they explained everything. The magic humans that we had before in the first series, aliens. Then they added Plumber's kids, aliens, half alien, And it seemed like a really weak way. Like, you had this diverse thing, and then you just kind of made it all in the same direction.
Yeah. It's kind of like how most Batman movies focus on just Batman and never acknowledge the wider universe. It's like, it's a little boring.
Yeah, I prefer Gwen having magic powers and just being strictly magic. I prefer... I liked Kevin as a mutant. It just seemed too convenient to have everything as alien.
Mm-hmm.
It also bothers me that, Ben is half alien and using the Omnitrix now. He's half alien with none of the alien powers.
Yeah. DNA's a crapshoot.
So after season 2 or 1, I can't remember when it ends, but after the first plot, this mature Ben, like, no longer being, joking around. Like, he still had a little bit of personality, but, he was very serious about getting his grandfather back. He was very serious about taking the aliens down and protecting the universe. Apparently a lot of fans are very upset by the fact that none of the characters had the same personalities they did in the original show. Which I think is really silly, because you're like, you want them to have the 10-year-old personality, you want them to mature but still have, the arrogance and such. No, these are good characters now. They have a good plot. It's awesome. Art style might have took a little bit of a hit, but what they are now. Well, they wrote in plots to make it go back. So they reverted everyone back to the original series counterparts. Ben saved the universe, so now he's an asshole. He's just like, I saved the world. Why do I have to worry about it? And so he went back to the 10-year-old personality.
It went to his head.
Gwen kind of stayed the same, but now bickers with Ben too much. And because they're like, well, people liked Kevin when he's a mutated monster. So what they did was
he can't unabsorb what he's been absorbing.
Yeah, so he absorbs a bunch of stuff. Something happens. I believe the plot was Ben's Omnitrix messes with him a little bit. Like they were trying to mess with a failsafe or something, and it messes with Kevin. And now Kevin is this mismatch of all the things. One arm's wooden, but he does gain a new ability where he can shapeshift a little bit. So like he can now turn the metal parts into like a club. Or, just kind of like a T9, or whatever the Terminator.
T-1000.
Yeah, T-1000.
Terminator 2.
And so that's now that, and they just reverted back to it. Kevin went back to being, like, really shady. Like, they built some trust on him, and now it's like, I don't trust him anymore.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's when they started introducing, what was it, the Undercity, or Under...
No, that's Omniverse. That's Omniverse. Undertown is what you're thinking of. So, in Ultimate Alien, what they did was, Alien Force introduced a rival to Azimuth, the creator of the Watch. It turns out this guy named Albedo helped build the prototype for the Watch, and then got really mad because he got none of the credit for it, really jealous of Azimuth, and built his own version of the Omnitrix called the Ultra Matrix, or the Ultra Mix. I guess it's just Ultra Matrix. Mm-hmm. And what it is exactly like the Omnitrix, has the same abilities as the Omnitrix, but it's able to evolve the aliens. The thought behind it was the aliens would shapeshift into these evolved forms as if it's 10 years of, like, the hardest survival ever, and this is what they would come out with.
Yeah, 10 generations or so.
Yeah.
Like, and they kind of took that idea from DC Comics with Doomsday.
What didn't they take from DC Comics?
Good point. Good point.
So that basically happened, and what happens is they basically defeat Ben. Ben needs to, he just basically self-destructs the watch, and then makes Albedo give him that watch. What's interesting is that Albedo, because his Ultra Matrix is attached to, it's synced up with the Omnitrix, his default form is this miscolored version of Ben. Like, he's basically a clone of Ben, even though he's originally a Galvan, he has to be the same form for it to sync up.
Makes sense.
Yeah, and one of his punishments is that, like, he's stuck in that alien form. He hates it, he wants to be his true Galvan self, but he's stuck as, he has white hair instead of brown, his jacket's red, and all his aliens have a red theme instead of green. And so, Ben is able to trick him to get in the watch, and now Ben has the Ultra Matrix, which was, instead of designing new aliens, he would just turn the old aliens into slightly different versions of themselves. Some of them were really cool. Ultimate Humongousaur. Not a big fan of Humongousaur. Ultimate Humongousaur basically turns from a weird-shaped head T-Rex into this turtle thing with machine guns for hands. Let's see here. Echo loses the ability to duplicate himself, but has these, like, flying disc around and becomes, like, this really cool, like, it looks like a cross between the flying head thing from Flubber and just with a body, basically.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
It's such a simple design change, but I liked Ultimate Spider Monkey.
It wasn't simple at all.
I mean, just the idea of monkey to ape.
Yeah, so with Ultimate Spider Monkey, it still has 6 arms and such, but instead of it being like a... what would you say Spider Monkey is?
He's like a rhesus monkey with 6 arms.
And then you have a gorilla.
Yeah. Gorilla with, like, little spider legs on the back. And
others, a little more lame. There's... There was, like, Cannonbolt, who just became a blue instead of yellow, and when he rolled him into a ball, he got spikes, which... I understand the evolution of that. They have spikes to defend himself a little bit more, become a little bit more, less defensive and more offensive, but at the same time, that does not make you roll.
Ultimate, what was Wild Mutt? Couldn't he talk?
Yeah, so that was the one I was going to bring up, was they also changed some of the older ones. So Wild Mutt was a furry creature that couldn't speak. That was the thing, was he didn't have eyes and couldn't speak, because which is weird, because that makes him a little bit more feral than the others, which that get into Omniverse in a moment. And that one could turn into a red one. It just became red, got like a scorpion-like tail thing, and was able to speak. Mm-hmm. That reminds me, some of the changes they made to Alien 4, like subtle little, like, voice clips or visual stuff, is no longer did the aliens have, like, this really cool alien transformation from Ben to it. Like, in the original show, you could see, like, Ben hitting the watch, and then it would show, like, his arm transforming and then his face, and then it'd be, like, a spin type thing. Very much, like, a really cool version of Digimon, basically.
Yeah.
In Alien Force, it became, like, this, like, silhouette thing with bones, and it just didn't look nearly as cool. And one of the changes in the original series was the Omnitrix signal, because when he transforms, he has a symbol somewhere where he can push it to go back, or twist it if he needs to change into things. Well, those could be anywhere. Like, with 4 arms, it was on his arm. With Wild Mutt, I think it was on his head. And it was just kind of like wherever they needed to put it. And when it came to with Ultimate Alien Force, it always on his chest, which was a mandate of Dwayne to make it seem more like a superhero symbol. They wanted it, to be in the same spot. His argument was, well, not all aliens have arms, not all aliens have heads, but all aliens have a body. And so they could put it there. And with the ultimate forms, how he would transform into ultimate forms was he would hit the watch icon. Sometimes he would twist it, but most of the time he would hit it, and it would gain like 2 knobs on it, and then that was it. Right. So that's there was the plot to Ultimate Alien was there's a guy called Egregore. He was a collector, which that's what Egregore means. Reddit is an Egregore site. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it completely
No,
right.
it's like aggregation is the gathering.
Yeah.
So it's like an aggregate site.
So what's interesting about that was the character was the same species as Kevin. It was the same alien. He was able to absorb stuff. We slowly find out that Kevin can absorb energy. That's the first wave of that alien species ability. And then they can, like, as they go through puberty, they can absorb matter instead. Or with. And so this guy he was collecting 5 elemental aliens, which Ben got, of course. And he was trying to build himself an ultimate body with it. So he was taking this guy called Armadillo, which is this like armadillo thing that has really very non-organic metal arm things. So that was Earth. There was a water one. There was an electric one. There was a fire one. And that would make him ultimate. Hence the name Ultimate Alien. Well, the only way to defeat him was... there was this weird plot where, like, young Ben came back. There's a lot of weird, like, time travel stuff throughout the whole series, really.
Yeah.
The first series had two Ben 10,000 episodes, where it took place a couple of years in the future, where we got to see Ben 10K, who had 10,000 aliens. And then, which were really cool what-if stories. They were just like, what if it's the future? He has a kid now, Ken 10, whatever. And then you have the Alien, or Ultimate Alien, which now had the time travel plot of young Ben shows up for a little bit, just because the plot dictated it, and the two of them teamed up to try to defeat Ultimate Al Gore. And instead, young Ben's like, hey, Kevin, absorb my watch again. It'll make you strong enough to defeat him. And he's like, no, I'm going to use the A-Team. And so he absorbs the Ultra Matrix instead. That way he gets all the cool new aliens so he could have a cool new body and not just the same old one he previously had. And turns out the Al Gore gets kicked, his butt gets kicked, and then the rest of the series is them chasing after evil Kevin, because apparently whenever the Osmosians absorb too much energy, they become evil.
They start going insane.
Yeah, and so that was to explain why Kevin was no longer evil, because he doesn't have any of the absorption. He ran out of the energy.
Yeah. And I had a thought and it disappeared. They also, wasn't it during this time, I mean, we had a lot of weird time travel stuff. We also had some interdimensional stuff. We had the the Professor Paradox.
Yeah, explain it.
Dr. Paradox, a very thinly
Professor
veiled
Paradox,
Professor.
In the first episode, he's referred to as Doctor, but they're like, it's a little too close. He's Professor now.
Yeah, Professor Paradox, who's a very thinly veiled Doctor Who homage. Mm-hmm. And then a little later, we had the what was it called? Generator Rex crossover.
Okay, so between Ultimate Alien and Omniverse, which is hilarious, because keep in mind that Ultimate Alien... by the way, the plots were terrible. I really did not like the plots of Ultimate Alien. I thought it went downhill. Maybe it's just like we had what we had with Alien Force, where it was going to where they're more mature, and then you get this like Gregor story that was just kind of eh. Well, you have this crossover between Generator Rex and Ben 10. I don't know if this was like an attempt to make Generator Rex a little bit more popular, which was on the verge of being canceled already. Generator Rex is kind of a spiritual sequel to Ben 10. It's made by the same people who made the first series, which again, really high quality show, I mean art direction wise. Generator Rex, really high quality show art direction wise. Well, they did a hour-long crossover episode that was just basically a Generator Rex episode, 2 episodes of that, where Ben accidentally gets thrown into Generator Rex's world, and he's like super detailed compared to what he is now. All the alien, so everyone that he transforms into has like glowing effects and different stuff like that. It looked really, really good. All I remember is that the ending of it was he turned into Upgrade, an alien that could just basically attach itself to technology and then upgrade it, hence the name. Well, Generator Rex's ability is that he can turn into metal.
He's got like nanites or something that let him morph his body into a more technological state.
Mm-hmm. So like if he needed like a giant fist, he can make a giant fist.
Yeah.
If he needed a cannon, he can make a cannon.
But he still had to eat matter to make the cannon fire something. So the cannon on his arm had like this big old mouth at the back that would grab concrete and shoot it at the bad guy.
Okay, that's cool. Well, how they defeated the bad guy was... I forgot who the bad guy even was for the special. But they basically they made Ben turn into Upgrade and then absorb Generator Rex and made him better.
Mm-hmm.
It was really cool. It was a lot of fun. It was really cool to see all of Ben's aliens and like the souped up drawing style. Which I think they haven't they showed Wrath a lot, who was really popular when it came to I think Ultimate Alien. Wrath is basically this Tony the Tiger colored tiger alien that speaks like a wrestler from the 90s. Like, it's always like, let me tell you about this! And he says everyone's by his full name, so or like, full description if he doesn't know the name. So it's just like, let me tell you about this kid sitting sitting in a chair next to me. I'm gonna destroy you, because I'm Wrath! And voiced by John DiMaggio.
Yeah, it was great.
So, between those, and then, so you have this really super, style, or really detailed style, and it even introduced some new aliens in it.
Shock Squatch.
Shock Squatch, which was this very Yeti-looking creature. And then you find out, hey guys, Omniverse is happening. And at the end of Ultimate Alien, Ben gives up the Ultra Matrix for a finished version of the Omnitrix, which does not have the evolution ability. Which, to be fair, was kind of it's cool. It makes sense. I don't know why.
But it was made by the bad guy.
It was made by the bad guy, which the Azimuth didn't like it because the Omnitrix was never meant to be a weapon in the original series. It was meant to be a way for people to step in someone else's shoes. Mm-hmm. And Azimuth didn't like the whole evolution thing. He thought it was really dumb. Just didn't see the point of it. Oh, they also introduced in Ultimate Alien Omniverse, or not Omniverse, but Ultimate Alien or Alien Force. They introduced the fact that the Omnitrix data is not stored on the watch. None of the DNA is in there. When he hits the watch, this is the stupidest thing I've ever heard of, by the way. When he hits the watch, it's apparently wirelessly connected to a planet that has a river that has all the aliens' DNA in it.
I'm not saying nothing.
It's bad.
Yeah.
I don't know if someone's like, that's a good plot.
A river of DNA.
Yeah.
That could be misconstrued. So
by the way, in Omniverse, it's never referenced. So anyways, with Omniverse, they writ out Kevin and Gwen, who have been since Grandpa Max has been written out in a way. He's still in the show, he still appears, but he's not a main character anymore. With Kevin and Gwen, they were the new people that Ben always hung out with. Well, Gwen decides to go to college, and Kevin, being the boyfriend, by the way, Kevin and Gwen started dating. They move away. They go somewhere else, and then Grandpa Max, who is now the leader of all plumbers, which I forgot to mention. In the original series, plumbers were just this disbanded alien protection thing that no one knew about. It was like secret government. In Ultimate Alien and Alien Force, they basically made them into intergalactic police, which is not disbanded. Everyone in the universe is apparently one, and they no longer have their own unique badges or anything. They now have Omnitrix symbols as their badge, which is obviously a way for them to brand Ben 10 a little bit further. Yeah. But it didn't really make sense in context of the story.
Yeah, it was. What can you do?
So, as Magister, Grandpa Max is like, "Hey Ben, you need a new partner. I gave you a new partner, fresh out of the academy. Here's Ben. Here's Brooke, or not Brooke. Sorry, Brooke is from One Piece. He's a skeleton that tells perverted jokes. Rook, on the other hand, Rook Blanco, is a blue alien who doesn't understand puns, doesn't understand basically anything with metaphors or stuff. He's by the book. So with Ben being a slacker, Rook is the straight man. Mm-hmm. And to be able to compete with Ben, he has a weapon that apparently no one else in the whole Plumber Academy uses because it's a prototype. I don't know why. It's the Proto Tool, which it basically turns into any weapon he needs it to be. Mm-hmm. If he needs a gun, it's a gun. If he needs it to be a pole, it's a pole. If he needs it to be a bow and arrow, it's a bow and arrow. It's a really cool weapon. It's really unique, and it was a great addition. But I don't know why any other plumbers aren't using it.
Yeah,
and so
it's a prototype. They're hoping this thing doesn't blow up in the kid's face eventually.
Well, there's actually in the Ben 10 game. I haven't played it yet, but I watched a couple of cutscenes from it. And the Ben 10 game takes place in the past. Like the Ben and Rook go in the past, and Rook's present day proto tool gets destroyed, and he winds up taking the original prototype.
Oh no!
Yeah, so that might be why there's only one.
Yeah, time loop. It's like, hey, we have this brand new weapon, and it's stolen again.
Well, he doesn't steal it. They just like hand it to him. He's like, oh, you need a weapon, here you go. And so basically with this version of the story, it's just the two of them. It's Ben kind of mentoring them in a way, and there's a little bit of running gags. In Alien Force, they introduced an alien called Alien X, which is the worst alien ever. Essentially, it's the alien that can do anything it wants. The end. That's it. But the downside is the alien can't do anything without it has three minds. So while the alien's just standing there, the three of them, I forgot what their names are, but there's a man and a girl, a head, and then you have Ben, who's the third one, and two of the three have to agree before the alien can do anything. Take a step, breathe, walk, attack, and so nothing gets done. So it's really funny is in Alien Force, I think it might have been in the season 1 finale, they introduced Alien X, because they were like, it was the one that was silhouetted during the intro, you never got to see it, and finally they reveal it, and it's just like, he's stuck. They just put him in the trunk of the car because they can't fit him inside the car because he's standing up straight. And it's really silly.
I just find, for some reason, it makes me think of having to deal with it's like a hero that has to deal with a bipolar Zordon.
Basically. And how they deal with it, we're like, this is the most powerful alien ever, but we can't use it. Well, I can't accidentally turn into it again, So they had a thing where Kevin and Ben both had a key that they had to put into the Omnitrix to be able to turn into it. Which I don't know how they know that technology to do that, to mod it, but yeah.
That certainly voided its manufacturer's warranty, I'm sure.
Well, what's interesting is with that one, with Alien Force, they only had 9 aliens then. They didn't even have 10.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of like the original series, they only had 9 anyways because they couldn't use Ripjaw. Because he was the underwater alien.
Yeah, talking about tinkering with it, there was the episode where Ben goofed up the Matrix.
There's a few of them, but
where it would create fusions of the aliens.
So in the original series, Ben was trying to figure out how to unlock the alien watch to be able to stay transformed or whatever. In a previous episode, he did finally figure out a combination that gave him the code. He could think of the alien or say the alien's name and turn into the alien. And he didn't have to turn back into a human. The fail-safe is that if you stay too long in the alien, it might corrupt your personality or, such, or things like with Ghost Freak. And so he winds up popping off the piece of it and puts it on with gum. And, that's how you fix it, right? And when he hits the watch, he turns into fusions of aliens. So it was I think it was Diamond Matter and Rip Heat or Rip Blast or Heat Jaws or something.
Yeah, I would say Heat Jaws.
Which is the worst combination ever because it's the fire alien turning into the water alien. So he couldn't breathe outside of the water and the fire was drying up his skin. But if he jumps in the water, he can't ignite his body to use the powers. So that was really cool.
Mm-hmm. So he has a history of tinkering with it. So.
Yeah. Which is interesting because, so with Omniverse, it had 80 episodes, which I think was the longest out of the whole set. The ratings went up. Basically what happened was, in Ultimate Alien, the ratings dropped down, probably because of terrible writing. I did not like Ultimate Alien at all. I love Alien Force. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a huge step up, but Ultimate Alien was... I was starting to lose interest in it. And a lot of other people were too. Apparently so bad that the toys stopped selling as well. And so they were like, okay, the toys aren't selling, the ratings are down, we need to save the show. The show was a big hit. We need to bring this back. And so they hired the guy that did Transformers Animated. And they were like, and Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated.
And Teen Titans.
And Teen Titans, but I'm talking about the ones that he kind of did art direction for.
He was art director on Teen Titans.
Was he?
Yeah.
I know he worked on it. I didn't know he
Well, I know a lot of the designs were very indicative of his style.
But not in the same vein as Transformers Animated or...
Yeah. Animated, a lot of the villains seemed very Derek J. White-ish on Teen Titans.
Yeah, Teen Titans. Like Mumbo Jumbo and...
the Granny and...
Ghost Freak, yeah. Definitely agree. He's definitely a bigger part of it now, or was at least. So they brought him on. They're like, hey, we need to make a lively version again. We need to rehaul the show. The direction it's going in has turned off people. And so what they did was they decided to make a more comedy action show. It took itself a lot less seriously. just like Transformers Animated took itself a lot less serious than, like, say, the Transformers movie or the series after it, Prime. And the art style just reeks of him, which is good and bad. I do really enjoy his show. I do think his chins are a little ridiculous sometimes. If you need to know what Derek J. White's like, if he designed it, he has a giant chin. Everyone has J-Lo.
And a lean to the body.
Yeah, that too. So, like, if you look at any of the character models, there's ridiculous, like, lean forward. Like, where the head is. Naturally, when it comes... If you look at anyone's photo... there's always a foot underneath one of your head. Like, no matter what, try moving around, you're always going to find one of your foot. If you're standing on the ground at all, there's a line of gravity there. With J.R.J. White's stuff, the head is always forward than the feet, and it's a little awkward. It works in motion though. I don't think it's ever like slanted, but like in the character art, it's always a little too forward. Go on.
We were just talking about Derek J. Wyatt, and then, but we were talking about how like the series needed a fresh look, a fresh feel to it, and
by fresh, they were just like, let's make it look like the other two shows.
Yeah,
and like I'm still dreaming for it. It won't happen, but I want a Ben 10, Scooby Doo, and Transformers animated crossover. It'll never happen, but I would love it.
I could see Scooby-Doo before anything. Scooby-Doo will cross over with anybody.
Have you seen the new art style for Scooby-Doo?
Oh, God, they're doing a new one?
Yeah, it looks like Cow and Chicken and Family Guy had a baby.
I'm going to go cry in a corner.
Let me pull it up. Ignore my typing, guys. Talk about something when I find it.
Oh, man. So, we were talking about Transformers Animated, and now that was the show that got me back into the Transformers fandom. I had not been a Transformers fan since Beast Wars. Like, I wasn't excited about any of the like movie designs or anything. Or wait, no, the cartoon came first and then the movies designs started coming out. But I was totally turned off by Wyatt's style at first for the Transformers. I didn't think how any of these could even transform. Boy, did they prove me wrong. I'm still amazed at how Bumblebee works.
And there you go.
Dear.
You see what I mean by it? Kind of, like, Scooby-Doo looks like he's... by the way, this is the worst thing for a podcast. We're looking at something visual. But Scooby-Doo looks kind of like Cow and Chicken, and then all the humans look like they're from the Burger King's Kids Club.
I don't know, something about is it me or does Shaggy look like the goth boyfriend from Gravity Falls?
He definitely has the hair from the Gravity Falls kid. Robbie. I forgot his last name.
Like, I could see this crossing over with Gravity Falls pretty easily.
No, the eyes aren't round enough. But my biggest problem with this is Velma's skinny, and I really liked her being a chubbier girl. If Mystery Incorporated did anything right, I know the first season no one likes Velma in it because she was trying to change Shaggy. But in the second season of Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated, she basically gets stumped by Shaggy because Shaggy doesn't want to make Scooby upset. And she's just bitter. And the bitterness is so good and so fun to watch because she just hates everything. She's basically a girl that I imagine being on I imagine her being on Tumblr, you know? And this is the part where it's like, you left me for a dog.
She's not the first woman who said that.
But she's so vengeful and I don't know, it's so good. And then I really like how they incorporated Fred, who never had a personality. See, with Scooby-Doo, none of the characters had personalities.
No, they were just silhouettes with a slight quirk.
Just you could basically put anything in it. They had attributes. Fred was a leader. He told people to split up. Velma was the one that came up with plans. Daphne got kidnapped. Scooby and Shaggy were the bait. That as far as their personality goes. Scooby and Shaggy were scared of stuff. Everyone else was normal, you know. But they are the blandest yogurt you'll ever eat. And then with Mystery Incorporated, and for example, when they got to the live action movie, they had to make a personalities for them. Mm-hmm. And what they did was they just took different things. They made Fred really vain because it's funny. They made him into a self parody. And then when you got to Mystery Incorporated, they're like, okay, how do we make these guys characters? And you just have Shaggy just being kind of he has somewhat of a personality, but He's just he's just a shy guy that wants to hang out with people. That's it. Like he's not really super comfortable with dating. He's just doing things.
He's an awkward teenager. I mean, he's the most like Shaggy of the original 5 probably had the most personality because he was always this awkward kind of oddball to the group. Everybody else looks so clean cut and normal, and Shaggy's just like bad posture, facial hair.
He's Shaggy. Yeah. And then like in Mystery Incorporated, I really love Velma. Daphne had a lot of personality too. She was the go-getter. She, she was kind of like not sure. She just wants to be someone's girlfriend, or she's trying to find herself. She wanted to solve mysteries, and she did it. It wasn't just like, oh, I'm the rich one.
She was ridiculously rich in this, though.
She was, but I mean, she has been since Scooby-Doo and Pup Named Scooby-Doo, which is probably the first time they actually gave personalities to the characters.
True.
And then Fred, which is obsessed with traps, which was just kind of charming.
He had a scrapbook trap book.
He wasn't dumb. He just was very focused.
I saw a great image. It was Daphne explaining Fred to her parents, and it's like, you just don't know him like I do. He's like one of those artists no one understands until they're dead.
But yeah, like I forgot what we were talking about. Jerry Watt. He helped work that. I know that Velma is his favorite character on that. I do frequently check his ask.fm or whatever, where it's like he apparently hates any questions about Transformers. Well, okay, so in order, he hates Ben 10 questions more than anything in the world. Like he likes Ben 10. He decided to work on it, and then people ask him a bunch of questions, and he just finds all the fans annoying. He just hates it. Like it seems he keeps answering them, so I don't know why. Like so, he obviously likes some of the attention, but like. He just gives off this impression like, stop, just leave me alone, go away. Transformers fans ask annoying questions too, but not to the same degree. Scooby-Doo fans just don't ask him anything.
We need to change that.
But Mystery Incorporated was great. It was the first Scooby-Doo series to actually have an overarching plot, and while the ending was kind of not great, it felt like an anime ending. Like if you've seen Final Fantasy VII, the Avid Children movie, that's basically the ending to the Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated.
Suddenly, I want to see those characters drawn in the Derek J. Wyatt style.
No.
But
so let's go back to Ben 10.
Yeah. So I mean, we were just talking
style change.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of a. I mean, I like Wyatt's style, but even I was a little put off by the style change at first.
Well, I really like Ben's design, especially him with the hoodie. I think it looks really, really good. A lot of people were upset that he looked younger, but it's just a style change, know? It's not that he is younger, it's just, he's a little bit more round, sure, but it fits his personality a lot more.
Yeah. And, I mean, with Wyatt, we got some needed redesigns. I loved Gwen's power-up form.
Oh, the superhero-looking thing?
Yes.
I hated it. So.
Well, it's like, I was a fan of Lucky Girl, so to see that kind of brought into one of the designs, I was kind of happy.
Well, like, because with Ultimate Alien, what they did was they made Gwen have an alternate form, her android form. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. I'm probably pronouncing none of the things right, just to clarify for everyone. But since she's half alien, she has the spark. That was the thing. That's why Ben can't turn into it, because he doesn't have the spark. And so it's because basically she studied magic. She was actually just studying her own abilities, which, again, weird. But she basically had this like energy form where she became like a dark purple thing and then had like lighter purple highlights everywhere. And that's basically it for her powers.
Yeah, it was a boring form.
It was alright. It didn't need it. It wasn't necessarily needed at all. And with Omniverse, like, she kind of, the original series, or the middle series, Ultimate Alien, Alien Force, I'm just going to refer to it as middle series, I don't want to keep, she just kind of was over the superhero thing, she obviously doesn't need it, she doesn't need the recognition, she's not like Ben, who feeds off people thinking of him as a hero. And then you have Omniverse, where she moved away to her own college, and then her anodite form becomes, instead of this naked thing or just energy, it now is like it's a mixture between Lucky Girl with a mask and her anodite form, and it's kind of cool, but it's also kind of like hokey at the same time, in my opinion.
Well, I mean, Ben 10 to me always seemed to embrace the kind of hokey golden Silver Age style comic book stuff, and when it does that, I'm just happy.
to be fair, I didn't like anything they did with Gwen in Omniverse. So
kind of a wasted character.
Well, I think design-wise, I was really upset with it. When the series first started, she had the same kind of appeal she had in Alien Force, where she had long hair. She got really cute. Like, you know, she had somewhat bigger lips, and she had freckles and different things like that. They added in Omniverse, and her hair was nice and puffy. She was really adorable. And then they brought her back after a couple episodes, and basically, there's a lot of people change in college. I didn't really go through too big of a thing. I think I just threw out Hawaiian shirts and switched to hoodies. I don't know about you. I think you started wearing a red hat.
No, I grew my hair. My hair got down to my butt.
Oh,
I'm not kidding.
That's awesome. I'm going. That's my post-college.
Hey, just remember to donate it when you do cut it.
I don't know if we're going to. We'll see.
It's curly hair. I'm sure they can stretch it out and get to 10 inches pretty quick.
Oh man, with hair, I just don't. I don't know. Like I'm half. Like I really want to grow it out long because I always wanted a ponytail. I always think it looks cool. But at the exact same time, I think being a bigger guy, I feel like makes it seem gross or something. And maybe I'm just having really bad body issues lately. But like half of me wants to get it cut and just have a professional haircut again. But I don't know.
No, wait till the
beard grows back to the side. Yeah.
Can't make any facial decisions without facial hair in the equation.
But with the revised version of Gwen, after she came back, she changed. She now has glasses, and she's starting to wear her 10-year-old outfit again.
Yeah, it was like a 10-year-old, her shirt from being 10 years old, and then a skirt.
Yeah. In comparison, in the original series, as a 10-year-old, she wore a cat t-shirt. Just had a little cat design. It was long sleeve, and then she wore like capris or whatever. Is that what you call the pants that reach not to your ankles, but a little bit above?
Yeah, I want to say that's it.
Okay. In Ultimate Alien 4, the middle series, I'm trying to coin my name now. In the middle series, she wore a skirt and leggings and like a professional like business casual like polo thing.
She looked like a librarian assistant.
Basically, which was kind of hot. I'll take that. Calling cartoons hot. New low. RayQuest Podcast. So, and that's what she had in Omniverse, and then she came back and she's wearing the 10-year-old cat shirt again. Which, Gwen is always supposed to be the mature one of the group, and it felt like a downgrade. It doesn't make sense why she would go back to wearing graphics tees versus, like, and I know someone's like, well, you know, mature girls can wear graphics tees too, Steven. What are you doing over here? And I'm just like, but when that's the only outfit you see them in, they don't ever change. It's one of those things where you just kind of, you have to build your design around that. The costume is part of the character design now. And that when you see when you see that design, you have to be able to figure out what that character is.
It felt like she kind of regressed.
Right. Like she cut her hair to her 10-year-old self again, which it's fine. A lot of people refer to the original series designs, and that's kind of what everyone went back to.
Her hair was more of like a bowl cut than anything in this new design. It was just kind of meh.
It just seemed like she just cut it, you know?
Yeah. Like she took a knife and
she got the little thing pulling her hair back again that she had in the original series. It was definitely... Basically, they just aged up the original series, and I don't know, like, Gwen was one of the best things about Ultimate Alien and Alien Force, and to have it go back is just a little insulting. And now she wears glasses, which don't look really great. They have really big frames, and not in the cool, like, thick frame way. Like, I don't know. It just seemed like a really messy design, and...
They could have taken some lessons from the way she appeared in the future in the Ben 10,000 episodes.
Well, that's what they're going to. Like, they cut her hair short again and then she started, as the series went on, towards the later half. Which, by the way, it really does feel like a separate series because they aired episodes up to 50 of them, and then they stopped, and they just recently aired all the episodes at 6 o'clock in the morning. And this new 6 o'clock air, it started with the 200th episode special, which wasn't treated like a special at all. Like I said, it aired at 6 o'clock in the morning. And at this point, she started only referring to herself as Gwendolyn, which became kind of a running joke where Ben would call her Gwen, and Ben! And oh, sorry, Gwendolyn, which is leading up to, and in the future episode at the end, she is that version.
Yeah. But I mean, I just liked how the grown-up version of her was very recognizable as a grown-up version of her.
Yeah.
In the Ben 10,000 episodes. And then, each change they did, it felt like a very different person, which I realize people change as they grow.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. I liked the grown-up version.
Oh, yeah, I love Gwendolyn.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about some of the things that we were going to mention. So Ben 10K, that's the future version of Ben 10. In the original series, he had still the same Omnitrix he had in the first, because obviously they didn't think, oh man, there's going to be a new show, they're going to redesign it twice. And so they're like, well, when they got to Ultimate Alien, they couldn't just go, oh, well, in the future he goes back to the regular watch, so they reformatted his watch, and he had different abilities. So, they ran into him again, and he didn't have the Ultramatrix, which Ben had, And so every time, Ben 10K appears, he always has the current watch. And how they explain it in show is just, oh, that's a different possibility of Ben 10K. The one you met back then was one version. Well, this is a different version of Ben 10K.
Wibbly wobbly timey wimey.
Yeah, so there's 5 different versions of Ben 10K. And how they're explaining it now is that each version, every time they upgrade him, it's he's like, oh yeah, I switched to this version now. So it's now apparently the same one. He just upgrades the same time as his present version does.
And then by the end, he had his own version.
He does have his own version. So so let's talk about the 200th episode. So the 200th episode was the big Omniverse. It fits the title perfectly. It starts out with a watchless Ben and an alternate version of the show. Grandpa Max has a metal arm like he does in the future, but it's present. Gwen and Ben don't know each other, and Ben is friends with the bullies from the original series, and none of them he doesn't have a watch. In fact, he has a shitty watch that doesn't tell time. That's broken, that gets stolen by a Kevin that he doesn't know. And you're like, okay, so we're doing an alternate version. Okay, cool, whatever. And then evil version of him appears and turns into evil versions of his aliens. And this is evil Ben. And then other evil versions of Ben. Ben Zaro, which is a zombie version of Ben, who turns into zombie versions of his aliens. He only really turned into 2 of the undead-looking ones, Snarrow and Frankenstrike. But it's apparently, according to David J. Watt's ass thing, that if you turn into Wild Mutt, it would be a zombie version of Wild Mutt.
Kind of want to see those.
I know, right?
I love the idea of Ben Zaro, but
there was Mad Ben, which was a punk version based off Mad Max, and his aliens are awesome. It's so awesome they brought him back for another 2-parter, but we'll get to that in a moment. And let's see here, Albedo, even though he's an evil, he looks like Ben, he's not an evil version of Ben. It's just really odd. You could have, different versions of him, too, technically. Yeah. But he's just a recolored version of... at this point, he's stuck in young Ben form, which is kind of funny. So he's stuck as a 10-year-old.
Yeah. And, I liked how, at one point somebody was like, yeah, you're gathering evil Bens, and, Albedo's like, evil's relative.
And then you have Eon, which is from one of the live-action movies. Apparently he still counts... the original creators, I don't think, included him in the count or anything like that, but in Ultimate Alien, they're just like, fuck it, yeah, he's in it now. Let's make plots about him. Eon is basically a time alien that uses Ben's Omnitrix basically he's dying, he lets his DNA get absorbed, and Ben turns into a younger version of him. And you find out that Eon is just the evil version of Ben. Mm-hmm. Which is, I don't know, kind of lame.
It's silly, but it's comic book silly, so I can live with it.
So that's the team, and then Vilgax and who else? Vilgax and Eon are basically the ones teaming up, and they found this dimension where Ben doesn't have a watch, and every other version of the world, every dimension, Ben always has a watch for whatever reason.
A Tennyson has the watch.
A Tennyson has a watch because there is. I was going to get to her in a moment, but so they're trying to kill this wild card Ben basically. They see him as dangerous because he doesn't have a watch and they don't know what can go on in this universe. Well, Ben Prime, the regular Ben, shows up, helps out, and Paradox shows up with a bunch of different versions of Ben. Ben 10K, which I guess is not a different version of Ben, it's just a future, which I don't know why the other Ben 10Ks didn't show up since they all could help out too. But I guess, whatever, convenience the plot. Gwen 10 shows up, which is from a one-off episode where they did a thing where, what if Ben didn't get a watch? And in that particular episode, Ben remembers having the watch but doesn't have it, and instead he's reliving the same day, but instead of him getting the watch, his cousin Gwen gets it. And she has female versions of the aliens, which is always really cool to see new designs of the same thing you already know. And then the last good, which is weird because there's 5 evil Bens and there's only 4 good Bens that have watches.
And then Gwen.
But you have Ben 23, which is an alternate version of Ben that in that universe Ben's a little bit younger. He's still voiced by Tara Strong, but he's a little bit taller. He has kind of a scene kid haircut with like the swoop. He has piercings, and he's famous in that version. Like he found a way to monetize his watch, where he has 23 aliens. He has more, but he only puts them in the vault like Disney, and all he turns into them. And he has brand deals where if he defeats an alien that day, everyone gets a free gyro and just gyro. I mean, sorry.
No, I hate that character so much.
He's not that bad.
His names are horrible.
Oh, so the joke with that one is he also names his aliens, but instead of Blocks, which is the Lego alien, he has Build-A-Guy.
Big Bug. Mr. Monkey.
Yeah, it's a lot of them are movie parodies too. But yeah, so those team up and they get destroyed basically. Vilgax has a time bomb that is set to that timeline and kills off all the Bens, except for the watchless Ben, who Ben Prime blocks from the blast, but somehow his watch gets attached to him. And Paradox pulls him out before Vilgax kills him, which, by the way, Eon's the evil version of Ben. Vilgax betrays him, kills him as well. And so Paradox is like, all right, well, let's do this. And part of the special is... it starts out at the beginning where Ben gets his watch. It turns out that this version of Ben is the reason why Ben gets his watch, which contradicts the original series where basically the reason why Ben got the watch because it was aimed for Max. It was supposed to be Grandpa Max's watch, not Ben's. In this version, it's the Paradox and Watchless Ben sent it to him, which set off the time events. And basically, they collect everyone that they just collected, and this is kind of a way for Watchless Ben to get trained with the Omnitrix in a way. And they all go through a portal together without Watchless Ben, which is basically the events that we saw in the first part. Yeah. So this part actually happens before the first part, kind of.
Yeah, time loop.
And then basically, Watchless Ben with the watch pops through the portal right when he got pulled out and is able to defeat Vilgax by turning into the clockwork and reversing the time bomb. Yeah. And that's how they save the day.
Yeah. I mean, I love multiverse type stuff. I am a sucker for that kind of storytelling. And to just see all these different versions of Ben, or the Gwen 10, or the Ben Zaro, it was just shows you can get very creative with the same characters over and over.
Yeah, I mean, having Gwen 10 come back and Ben 10K and even Ben 23, as I know you don't like them, but it was a really cool way of oh, hey, let's reference the original series. The only thing that would have been better is they would have brought the Ben from Ultimate Alien with the Omnitrix or the Ultramatrix or whatever. That would have been cool to have that design there. Which is another episode you didn't see, where some of the villains are wearing the mask that the hybrid wear, where they turns into things, and they're all different versions of Ben. But they're all Ben from different outfits. Like, one's with him with the hoodie. One's with him with the jacket from Ben Ultimate Alien. Oh, neat. One's one of the shorter guys turns into Little Ben.
Nice.
Yeah. So let's see here. So with that, so that's the 200th special, which was really cool. It brought everything into place. What was really neat about that time bomb is that you don't realize, he just randomly has a time bomb. There's no explanation. But in the last episode, you find out that they introduced a new character a little bit later on, a couple episodes from there, called Maltruant. I'm really bad with names, guys. Really, really bad. And Maltruant is basically just Clockwork, but an evil version of him. And in the last episode, he gives Vilgax the time bomb in trade for helping out. And so it's really cool to see, so he's been holding that bomb for this long, finally use for it.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great... There's actually a couple of things time travel-wise. You also have Spanner.
Oh, yeah. So, randomly they started introducing Spanner, this character. It's very much the alien, or not Alien Axe, Red Axe from Teen Titans. Voiced by the same guy that played Red Axe in Teen Titans.
Who was pulling triple duty, I might add.
Yeah. In Teen Titans, there's Robin had a costume that he had called Red Axe that he was trying to get to Slade with, and it was hide his identity from the other heroes. And then the costume gets stolen, and this guy's using it for mutual reasons. Partially bad, partially good. You never find out who it was, but he sounds like, he kind of sounds like Robin, because it's got a voice modulator. And that's kind of a recurring thing. We just never found out.
Yeah.
Well, with Ben 10, we get this character called Sprangler, who's also voiced by Robin from Teen Titans, and who also voices a couple of different characters, such as Jimmy, the guy who basically made Ben 10 famous in Ultimate Alien. He's like a blogger that figured out who the identity was and revealed it to the world.
And he's basically Jimmy Olsen.
Yeah, he's Jimmy Olsen. Big fan of Ben 10. And Jimmy Olsen, by the way, is from Superman, for anyone who doesn't know that. Who also really likes Superman. Big fan of the person that he's following and trying to help out, trying to become a sidekick. Well, Spanner and Jimmy, I don't know if you saw the episode that they started like toying around with it, but every time Jimmy would disappear, Spanner would appear, which was really funny.
Well, my first thought was, it's like, Spanner's basically Jimmy Olsen as a common writer.
Yeah, basically.
He's got the scarf and everything.
But it's just some superhero guy that keeps showing up, and slowly you figure out, oh no, it's not actually Jimmy. But what threw everyone off, at least in the forums I went to, was in the original series, Ben 10's son, Ken 10, right, is voiced by Tara Strong. So we all expected that Ken in this show would be also voiced by Tara Strong, but instead is voiced by Robin and is actually Spranger. Big spoiler, by the way, guys. I'm assuming if you listen to this podcast, you either already follow the series or you don't care. I know we're like an hour into it and already shouting spoilers.
Just make sure you care enough to hit those like and subscribe buttons.
See, I don't have to do that. I don't really do that in general. I usually tell people to subscribe and follow me on the socials, but
and share it.
So the big thing I think we need to talk about, because it relates to toys and what makes you so excited, was they introduced a new concept called Skurd. It was a Slimbiont, which is a symbiont that attaches itself to a host. It cannot be removed unless the symbiote itself wants to be removed. And it feeds off DNA. That's its favorite thing. That's why it attaches itself to people. Well, Kyber, this character that's introduced in Omniverse, who has a Nematrix, which turns anything that hits the button into predators of the things that the Omnitrix has. So it was a really cool concept in Omniverse, to be honest. It was if Ben turned into one alien, the Nematrix automatically turns Kyber's pet dog into the alien that hunts it. So natural enemies, which is really cool and really that's awesome. That is a lot of drama you can put into it. Well, eventually the dog switches sides, becomes Kevin's pet, which is really cool. I love that. I think the dog's name is Zed. And I don't know if that's a loving note to Power Rangers or not, but
probably just for the Greek letter for Z or something.
Probably. And it's just this alien dog that Kevin adopts after Kyber kind of mistreats it. And it's a girl, by the way, which is really cute. And Kevin clearly loves this dog, and it becomes a really good part of the team, which is awesome. And maybe that's what they're doing with the ending. At the end of Ben 10, they basically imply that they're going to do a road trip series. Probably won't happen. We'll talk more about that later. But it'd be really cool to have Ben, Gwen, Kevin, Brooke, and the dog as the fifth. So this is basically Scooby-Doo.
Oh, God. You're drawing that now.
Apparently.
It's like they'll be in Ship or something.
Well, they're already in the style.
Yeah.
Okay, so Skurd is this alien that attaches itself. Kyber, so this Nematrix can't be done by humans. If a human puts it on, or anyone with a mind, like if it's not feral, which is like a beast, like say a bear could wear it, but if a human or alien that could talk and is sentient, they would go crazy and mad. And so like Kyber himself can't use the Nematrix, but he found a way through Skurd. So he didn't need a pet anymore. What Skurd would do is Skurd would be on Kyber and attached to he'd be like a filter between the two. And so instead of fully transforming Kyber into an alien, he would turn an arm into the part of the alien and into a weapon.
Yeah.
So he would gain armor and weapon based around those aliens. Which, again, really awesome. I kind of wish they stuck with that, because that's a really good, contrast to, Ben turns into one alien and then, oh no, he has the ability to destroy that alien now.
Yeah.
Well, Skurd gets a little, finds out that Ben has the Omnitrix, which has a lot more DNA in it, and switches sides. He basically attaches himself to Ben, and now Ben has the ability to turn into aliens who now have, like, so if he turns into, Shock Squatch, which, by the way, has a completely different design in Omniverse, in the crossover, he's, like, this, like, big, bulky thing, and it's blue, and then he turns into this yellow Pikachu-looking thing. It's ridiculous.
It's an Electabuzz.
So he turns into this one alien, but his arm changes into, like, Diamond Head and has a sword, or turns into Blocks, where he has, like, a cannon that shoots Legos. So I'll let you talk about it for a bit, because I know you got excited about this.
You can definitely tell, okay, toy sales keep shows alive. It's a sad fact. It's we tried to keep Young Justice alive, but it didn't have the toy sales. We tried to keep Green Lantern, the animated series, alive. They didn't even bother with a toy line for that. Heck, I don't even care if Voltron Force was a bad show. I would have liked to have seen those toys realized. So, Ben 10, I haven't seen any new toys for it on shelves, period. Like, Omniverse had maybe some stuff from, season 1? Or from the first part?
Just from the first part. I didn't even see those in stores, to be honest.
Yeah. I haven't seen anything. I haven't even seen them in the clearance aisle. I saw Generator Rex stuff for 3 years in the clearance aisle.
That just won't sell. At all. At least Ben 10 has a following.
Yeah. Well, I liked the designs, and hey, I was going to buy the bad guy. I liked him. But, so... Skurd just felt like a toy design waiting to happen. And this is a series that almost every episode there was something toyetic. I mean, certain ships. Seems like Ben had a different vehicle every episode. And that could have kept the show alive. I think if they'd had if they had rebranded it as Omniverse something something.
Which they did, by the way.
Oh, what was it? Just
Galactic Monsters.
Nah.
Alright, so let's talk a little bit about the toy stuff, because I know the history about this. Skurd was basically, Bandai was like, hey, we want to make a toy series where Ben has the ability to use other aliens with his regular aliens. Like, we want 2 aliens, we want fusions. And they're like, okay, so this was the writers of Omniverse being like, how do we write this in here? And Skurd was a kind of an interesting character. He was a very egotistical, like, hot, he's like, I can't do a British accent, but you know what I mean. He was voiced by Megatron from Beast Wars, which was awesome.
Oh, nice.
David Key, I think. And he was just like, that was their idea. They wrote him around, so it was just a symbiote thing that would be like a third character to the group.
It gave the Omnitrix its own personality. Almost.
More or less, yeah. And he would just help Ben in type situations. And this was mainly for toy designs. Well, they also had they rebranded the show from Ben 10 for one season. It was Ben 10 Galactic Aliens or Galactic Monsters, and this is where a lot of the episodes focused on Ghost Freak's character, Siskare, I think is his name.
I don't remember.
Yeah, it was only used in the games actually. Like it was never used in the show until Omniverse.
Interesting.
Maybe Ultimate Alien, but like they just always referred to him as Ghost Freak. And he never went, no, my name is Siskare,
Yeah.
And just randomly they just started using it, which is cool, And like they used the Transylvania world, the home planet of all the monster aliens are all the same place, and they made it kind of a jokey thing. There was like 5 episodes dedicated to that planet where they were just stuck there, and humans were the scary thing. That was the joke. It's a really lame joke, but I can appreciate it.
It worked for Ghostbusters.
And so, like, Frankenstrike, or so the Franken people, the werewolves, and a couple other new ones, like Whamfire was one of them.
I remember that one. Yeah.
And so, like, they had a toy line where they were just releasing all the monsters, which is really cool. I like Snarrow. Like, I'm debating on buying some of the figures, to be honest. They're like $10 on Amazon. Just one of those things where it's like, do I really need the $10 toy? It would look cool on my shelf, but, it's one of those things.
The answer is always yes.
It says the guy that has the $60 Optimus Prime.
Oh man, you were cutting that price in half.
Oh man. You don't even have disposable income.
Hey, that was a good check that week.
So they basically just made a season just to get those out. And I think Derek G. White's probably a really big fan of those. And, for the most part, the Omniverse designs are pretty cool. Snarrow is a really cool alien. He has the ability, he has a long-range attack, and you can unwind him and stuff. But he's a cool figure. Frankenstrike's okay, and Blitzwolf is kind of cool, too, Ghost Freak is great. I really like the Omniverse version of him. They added a bunch of chains to him to really seem like he's locked down.
Yeah.
And then so like that was one of their ways to brand toys to change it up a little bit. So like all the branding went from green to purple, and the intro changed a little bit, and the episodes are focused on it. In fact, the 200th episode thing we talked about, that was part of that era. They just took off the branding because it was supposed to be a special.
Ah, I see.
Yeah. And then so Bandai was like, yo, we want this, and that was the writers like, okay, we can do this. So toys were definitely in mind. What we figured out, according to DerekJWhite'sAss.com or whatever, Ultimate Alien did so poorly with toy sales as well as ratings that Target and Walmart said, you know, we're going to skip Ben 10 for now. Ben 10 doesn't sell. We're done with it. And, Cartoon Network's like, no. We got this new Ben 10 thing. It's Omniverse. It's, got a new watch, got a new Aliens. It's going to be great. New style. It's going to be great. Ratings went up. Omniverse did really, really well in ratings. Like, I don't know if it did as well as the original series, but it definitely surpassed Alien Force and Ultimate Alien. Mm-hmm. But that was toy sales together. Tails? You're not Tails. That's Sonic Adventure.
But as we were saying,
toy sales dropped, but it's only because Walmart and Target didn't pick them up. In fact, the only place you could actually get Ben 10 Omniverse toys was Toys R Us, really, and their online site. Which, I don't think Cartoon Network's expecting the places to pass on it, but they got so excited about the ratings increase they ordered like 5 seasons worth. Which, by the way, seasons for Omniverse was done in 10, maybe because the show was called 10, and they were able to sell the episodes in 10.
Really? I never noticed that.
Really? Because they're not really, like, seasonal, Like, they had arcs. Basically, how Omniverse worked was there was 10 episodes per arc, and it was really just, like, maybe a 2-parter at the beginning and 2-parter at the end. That's how you know there was a different season. For the most part. And even the later ones didn't really have 2 parts in the beginning and end. It was just the end. And, so yeah, that's basically what happened was toy sales of the previous series killed the current.
Oh, that hurts.
Yeah, I mean, that's really frustrating. And I really like the designs, and I really like some of the toys. I just didn't really see any of the aliens I cared about. They released a lot of the newer ones, like Blocks was pretty cool, but unless Blocks is that you're able to take them apart and he's a Lego set, there's no reason for them,
I think a Ben 10 Lego set would have sold like gangbusters.
That would have been pretty cool. Wrath is kind of cool, but he looks so similar to the previous one, you don't need to buy him. Yeah. Though they did change Wrath to have a luchador outfit now, and he speaks Spanish.
I mean, there were a lot of changes just within Omniverse, weren't there?
No, there was a lot of changes within the 30 episodes that just came out. Because, like, you've really only watched of Omniverse the last set. Like, I gave him a list of episodes that he needed to watch so we could talk about it appropriately for the podcast. And there's a lot of different changes. Skurd was an addition that was just 8 episodes in before they removed him.
Yeah.
Which, again, strictly toys right there. They started bringing back Kevin and Gwen a lot, which was really cool. And there was even an arc dedicated to Kevin and Archit, really.
Mm-hmm. That was a great arc, in my opinion.
Oh, man, that was really, really good.
I loved how it retconned the retcons.
Okay, so, as you can we're not the biggest fans of a lot of the changes Ultimate Alien did. Well, neither was Derek J. White and the writing team, and they decided, hey, this would be cool? What if we just undid that? And so they made an arc called Beware the Rooters, where there's this group of people that live in the Null Void that are trying to destroy Ben. They see Ben as this ultimate evil, for whatever reason, I forgot what.
He's a kid with a loaded gun, basically.
Okay, that makes sense. He has the Omnitrix, they don't like that, and so they've been trying to destroy him for a while. And Kevin was always part of that plan, apparently. What happened was when Kevin got launched into the Null Void as a kid, he was kind of snatched up by this group. And in the previous series, Ultimate Alien Force, the middle series, I'm again trying to coin that and I won't, there was these, they introduced a bunch of kids called the Plumbers Kids, which were these half-alien, half-human people that had basically it was a way for them to still have the old aliens in while having new ones. So there was a heat blast, there was accelerate, there was
forearms, and something kind of like Argent Species.
It was Argent Species.
Oh, okay.
And then Pierce, who had the ability to shoot like
needles,
which Argent is basically a porcupine. Mm-hmm. That's his alien species, porcupine. And and then Kevin was one of these rooters. And so apparently what happened was Kevin's actually not an alien. He's just a mutant. And a mutant type called Mosian. That is a subspecies of human. And he was brainwashed to think that he was alien, and all the plumbers' kids were brainwashed into thinking that they were half alien, half human. In fact, they're all mutants. They are half alien, half human, but not by breed, like they thought they were.
Which saves us a lot of nightmarish scenarios.
Well, a human and heat blast having sex, you don't find that hot?
Burnt bacon smell everywhere.
Let's turn up the heat. So it turns out that these rooters were mixing humans with alien DNA with Kevin's ability. They were using it somehow, hooking him to a machine, and he was able to, like, Argit was given he was the sample for Pierce, and so this guy that was half brainstorm or brain blast, I think it's brainstorm, which is a crab smart creature, and half human, was able to kind of tap into people's minds and give them these false memories. So Grandpa Max and everyone thought that these kids were actual plumbers' kids, but in fact they have nothing to do with it. They're all sleeper agents trying to kill Ben.
Yeah. Which, it was weird to see that part where, like, they did attack Ben in the past, and just no mention was ever made. Like, it was never something that occurred in the old series. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, that dang brainstorm guy.
I know. So they basically retconned a bunch of things that they didn't like, and there's also, like, Gwen is half alien, but it's never quite mentioned anymore. It's just like, oh, she's magic. Like, magic's back to magic. It's not mana. It's just, oh, you're a magician. I don't know if I gave you the episode where they introduced the king of all magic, who doesn't even like energy blasts and stuff. He likes card tricks.
Yeah.
Because his big thing was he doesn't like all the hocus pocus stuff that all the people are using. It doesn't have rules, and he prefers things that have rules, like card games.
Makes sense.
Yeah. He also looks like Momo Jumbo from Teen Titans.
Of course he does.
And he's basically voiced by the same guy. And I don't think he's voiced by the same guy, but he sounds like the same guy. So, yeah. So the Rooters episode, it retconned a bunch of stuff, and it kind of made Kevin evil for a bit, and then, he went back to good. And he also got the little, like, bruised tattoo thing on his chin that his future self got in Ben 10K in the original series.
I wondered where that... Like, I was watching it, I'm like, wait, where did that come from? What was that from?
Yeah, but it was an energy, I guess. I didn't notice it. I blinked too,
Yeah, it's like, it makes sense, but...
So Kevin's starting to look like his future self, and this next 30 set of episodes really is starting to build the pieces to get to that Ben 10K. And I think the writers of Omniverse really liked that version of the future. And while Ultimate Alien and Alien Force did a lot to go away from that and make their own thing, this one definitely went towards it. Mm-hmm. We mentioned before that Ben 10K has a new Omnitrix. The Biomatrix is what it's called. And basically it's 2 Omnitrix on each arm, and he's able to clink it together and fuse aliens, which is really, really cool.
It's also a reference to Captain Marvel.
Ah, man, this guy.
In the Marvel Captain Marvel, yeah. Not the DC Shazam Marvel.
Yeah. So he combines the 2 strongest aliens. Ben has Atomics and Alien X, so it's Atomic X. The most recent one we saw was Goop and Humongosaur.
Oh, Lord.
Which is the dumbest combination I could think of.
Goopasaur?
I think it's a Humonga Goop or something like that.
It sounds like something Humongosaur would leave in a toilet.
Yeah. That's such a dumb transformation, because it's Goop with the strength of Humongosaur, so I guess he can shapeshift, but he doesn't, so it's pointless.
It's the blob!
And he has a choice of what 2 aliens. It's not like it's random, because he always goes to Atomic X whenever he gets a chance. Mostly because they can't just design a bunch of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's been 10K. Gwendolyn starts referring to herself as Gwendolyn, and in the finale, she does look like her future self from Ben 10K. Kevin looks like his future self, and Ben looks like his future self, so it all puts pieces there. Yeah. And every time we saw future versions of themselves, we only saw the designs we saw from Ben 10K, from the original series. The last episode, last 2-parter that comes out, is a time travel thing. All the episodes of this 30 thing brought in that evil clockwork guy, and so there's this time war that keeps getting brought up. And so we finally get to see what that is, which is kind of underwhelming. It's
it was, I think, the bit in the finale about the whole universe part, that was kind of cool.
Yeah, oh, definitely. everything up to the climax is cool. I really like the fact that they're all they basically see the universe get created because when they time travel, fight in this time war, they basically go to the beginning of the universe
and find a species of Mr. Slurpees.
Well, there's this creature that is so past the fourth dimension or fifth dimension that we can't comprehend it, so we see whatever we desire. And
Brooke sees his father.
Brooke sees his father. Ben sees Mr. Smoothies, and the bad guy sees 3 versions of himself.
Yeah, I loved that bit. It's like 3 ultimate versions of myself. Join me in the celebration, my brothers.
And so the climax is just basically they set off this bomb that is the bomb in the current universe destroys the universe. In fact, in Omniverse, at a certain episode, that bomb gets set off and the universe is destroyed. Ben, as Alien X, recreates the entire universe and is very upset by the fact that he wasn't able to get a certain flavor of smoothie right. In fact, they introduced a couple of the redesign changes. Like, Mr. Smoothie changes to be this more Scooby-Doo looking design. And from that point beyond, there's a couple of different design changes. And it gets brought into question that, Ben redesigned the universe. And in his defense, he's like, well, the universe got destroyed. I wasn't going to just leave it dead.
Well, and he gets brought on trial for reconstructing the universe. And they bring up the fact that Azimuth and a bunch of other characters have changed designs. So how do we know the other celestial sapiens haven't changed the universe?
Yeah. It's just really funny and cute little way, a nod that there's been so many style changes to the show.
And should we bring up Easter eggs later?
Go for it. Go ahead.
Like, the judge in that episode, he had Ultra Magnus's hammer from Transformers Animated as his gavel.
That's awesome.
And then one of the Spanner episodes, he's like, hey, I got you chili fries, and Ben's eating it, and the chili comes off of it. He's like, yeah, they use the best something worms. And it's friggin' Silky from Teen Titans.
Silky appears twice. He appears in another episode as well. Like,
he was eating Silkies!
So there's a lot of nods to previous Derek J. Watt shows, which is pretty cool. So with the Time War, they basically see the creation of the universe, and there's this really cool sequence where you get to see every single not every Ben 10 alien that they came out with, because there's certain ones like Jet Ray, and I can't remember the other ones, but there's a few that like Derek J. Watt didn't like, so they just didn't include them in the series. Yeah,
poor Jet Ray.
It was a combination of he didn't like it, so they pushed it off, or they wanted to redesign it and didn't have time. Okay. They thought they had more episodes.
Well, I liked the Jet Ray hybrid that they had.
Yeah, like a lot of people are like, man, he hates it, so he didn't use it. But it's like he still used certain, some of the aliens. Like Brainstorm never really got to use that often, so they created a villain. He did get used twice though. Mm-hmm. I just don't think you saw the episodes.
Yeah, but I mean, I thought that part where he's going through all the forms, like he's going through so fast.
So basically, what happens is the bomb gets set off, so instead of destroying the universe, because it's no universe, it creates a universe. Well, this version of this bomb that the evil Clockwork guy created is in his vision. Like, it's in his mind. Like, it's going to be a universe where he wins. And Ben jumps into the thing and finds out that the Omnitrix has a failsafe where he turns into Alien X and is able to grab the bomb and put it back, stop all the energy and put it back into the little box.
With a little help from Skird.
And you see this part where the Omnitrix is glitching as he's doing it, and there's this beautiful, I think it's like 30 frames per second. There's a lot of frames where he is going through a cycle of all the aliens all at once, and it's really cool to watch, and it's just really neat to see all the aliens all at once. It's very much like the original series, where there's a part where the watch gets attached back to Ben, and he raises the air, and you see like a silhouette of all the aliens come into it. That's using the intro from like season 2 and beyond. Mm-hmm. So it's very much like that. Really, really cool to see. I don't really have anything else to say about that sequence. I thought I was leading up to something, but I don't.
I just thought it was cool. Like when you take it all, when he's finally out of that thing, you see he's got Skird, and his whole arm is Celestial Sapien. It's Alien X, and I'm thinking that was a cool idea.
Yeah.
And then you find out Skird, the reason he hungers for so much DNA, he was made by the species that starts universes.
Yeah. So, in a weird way, so they write off Skird in this episode, which is the weirdest thing, because literally the episode before it, Ben finally got Skurd off and decides to put him back on because he realizes that he needs him. So this is really, really odd. Again, this is probably like time constraint where they realize, oh wait, we don't have 20 more episodes. We have one. You know,
they handled themselves fantastically for finding out they only had one.
I don't know if that's how it was or not, but yeah. And so basically, when they create the universe, those special beings are like, "Oh, hey, check this out!" And there's a bunch of caged versions of Skurd. All these things. It's like, hey, you helped us. You want to get caged with your relatives?
They let him out 5 seconds later.
Yeah, and then they're just like, oh, okay, cool. And so basically, he like, hey, Ben, I only saw you as a delicious smorgasbord of DNA, but I think we became friends, and I'm gonna leave you. And so Skurd pops up, joins his ancestors in a cage, and then he gets sent off to help create the universe.
It's like, I must go now. My people need me.
Yeah. Which makes a really interesting thing is that Skurd, Ben 10K recognizes Skurd. It's like, oh, hey, Skurd, you're there. Thanks for the... Oh, wait, never mind, spoilers. So it's like, I wonder what that was, because it's never mentioned.
You know, there's a lot of... I don't want to call them plot holes. I want to call them stories.
Plot potentials?
Yes. With a lot of stuff in Ben 10. I mean, even just between Ben 10 and Ben 10 Alien Force. We never know how he gets rid of the Watch.
Yeah, but, well, we do know that, like, certain events happen. Like, Kevin appears because of the Rooter thing. Because what's cool about Ben 10 Omniverse is that all the little kid events are Ben 11. Like, he's 11 years old. He's not 10. Versus, like, you know, so it is the future of that. So there is a little bit more gaps happening. And there is certain things where Omniverse did try to fill in gaps and try to, like, you know, add things to it, which is really cool and I really appreciate as a series.
And then, I mean, there's just the big plot potential of what we'll probably never get because they set it up for a space road trip at the end of this series.
Oh, on top of that, so in the original series in Ben 10K, there was no love interest introduced for Ben 10 at all, right, as a 10-year-old. So they introduced in the episode where Blitzwolf, or Ben Wolf at the time, was basically he got scratched. We find out the Omnitrix can actually absorb alien DNA, or at least scan it and then unlock it for him. Because at the time, it's always accidental transformations that unlock aliens for him. And so the alien wolf creature scratches his Omnitrix, and it now, like, it's slowly turning him into it. He would have automatically unlocked it if it wasn't for the fact he was already transformed, and the Omnitrix timed out. So he was slowly turning into it just by default. Really weird, because none of the other aliens did that, but it was just a way for it to make you think, oh, Ben's turning into a werewolf.
Yeah.
He's turning into a...
well, it shows the Omnitrix is a little unpredictable. I mean, just like with Ghost Freak.
But they introduced a character called Kai Green, who was this Native American girl who really liked Ben as a wolf because she has a thing for wolves. Like, she likes it as a pet. And it was kind of a weird thing where it's like, hey, I want you as a pet. I don't want you as a boyfriend. And obviously Ben was a little heartbroken. Well, she appears one more time in the series as a cameo where Ben's having a dream, like the Forever Knights hook him up to a machine to where they're trying to keep him at peace while they try to remove the watch. And in the dream, she's a cheerleader at the school. And she doesn't have any speaking lines. And it's like, that's the only 2 times she appears in the show, but that's the only love interest Ben has. So in the future episodes, Ken 10, Ben's younger son, is half white and half Native American, implying that it's Kai Green that they had a baby with. Well, that's cool, I guess. Obviously, in the future episodes, the future series, they introduced new girlfriends, Julie and Asterix, for example. And they basically wrote out Julie. They're just like, sorry.
They kind of made Asterix very creepy if he ever did go after her.
Why is that?
She's based on Gwen's DNA.
No, that's not Asterix.
Who was that?
That was Eunice or something. No. I forgot what her name was, but there is a girl that's based off Gwen's DNA, and then the one I'm referring to is this alien that was introduced in Omniverse. That is people that live in the center of the universe. They're kind of like they don't like the cold, so anything above the thing is freezing to them. So they always wear like winter coats and such.
Oh, the frog people?
No. Frog people are frog people. They like the warm.
Okay.
She has stretchy abilities.
Okay.
I don't think you got to see her. Really.
I'm gonna have to really dig into this series now.
The episode before the ones, like before the last two, that's her last appearance where like she's a love interest. She's trying to talk to Ben, who doesn't really want to be in a relationship with her, but apparently is dating. And that's the episode with the game show thing where...
Oh, okay.
Which is interesting because Ben 10 had a crossover with Secret Saturdays in Omniverse. Like, the show's canceled, so that there's no reason for it. But there was a lot of crossovers in Ben 10 Omniverse. Cow and Chicken also appeared. Well, the Secret Saturdays people, they appeared in one episode, and in the episode before the finale, they have this really weird game show thing where Ben's on a game show, and every female that he's ever interacted with in his life is competing to be his wife. They eliminate his relatives, so Gwen and his mom and everyone else gets cut out, and including that character you thought it was. And then the Secret Saturdays lady gets cut in like the second round, like makes it to the second round. And it's just really weird.
They never interacted though.
No, but it's just one of those things where it's just like, well, it's a character, gotta throw it in there. They had a character model, and
I mean, I liked a lot of the designs from Secret Saturdays. I just didn't care for the writing.
I never watched it, so...
I like cryptids, and it was all about cryptic creatures.
Okay. But, so, in that episode, they finally submit that Kai Green is going to be... They're going to date. Asterix was his girlfriend. She found a villain from the previous series... is now her boyfriend, so she's dumping Ben.
Oh, Lord.
And Kai Green just kind of, like, they finally, like, had their first kiss on screen on accident. And, which is interesting, because we mentioned Ken, who turns out to be Spaniard. We find out, or, what's his name, Spangle?
Spanner.
I don't know, I couldn't remember that. I was close. So, Spanner, in a previous episode, Fight in the Museum, he's very upset that Kai and Ben aren't dating. Well, you finally kind of piece together. He's not Jimmy. He's Ben's, son, and he's upset to see that his parents aren't dating and might not date, so he doesn't exist.
It's like I'm feeling very Marty McFly right now.
Yeah, things are heavy, Doc.
Yes.
And so basically, that's the episode where they finally start connecting. So that's cool. And then you see the next episode that's the future. They're already like team fighting each other. Kai has a sword. She dresses very much like Tomb Raider, kind of.
She reminded me of, well, you're going to hate me again for my extensive comic book knowledge, but she reminded me of Danny Moonstar from the 80s X-Men. Native American character, had very similar design and outfit.
Okay.
Like, it was just... I want to say that's what they were kind of evoking with her design. I don't know.
You know what's really interesting is the fact that every character in Omniverse can hold their own except for Ben. He has to turn into an alien. Like, every human, like, Kai has a sword. She's good. Gwen has magic powers, but, she's not turning into something else. Kevin has, they all have ability, sure. But, I mean, Kai doesn't. Kai just has a sword. And she's still kicking ass.
Although, for a bit there, with Ben 10,000... he was kicking some butt as a normal person.
There's a part where I think his watch is... there's an energy wave that turns off all power, including his watch. And he's like, oh, good old classic fist fight. Okay. I haven't done this in a while.
It's so hard to imagine any version of Ben becoming like that, but I like it. It just shows the hero life became his life.
Yeah. Oh, man. Speaking of which, there was an episode in Omniverse. I don't know if you got to see it, but the Omnitrix gets messed up, and... there's two Galvins, or the Gray Matter species that's in Omniverse. Dreba and I forgot what the other one's name is.
They kind of sound kind of rednecky.
Yeah. So the two dumbest smart people in the world, and they're basically tech support for the plumbers, and they're a great addition to the team.
I love their banter.
They're great. It's just it's really slow people, but they're smart. Well, they fix the Omnitrix when it gets broken, but it only turns Ben into random aliens, and they're all the worst aliens. There's one character called The Worst. That's the alien name that Ben gives him. And which is funny because like all these aliens that he's making fun of are actual plumbers, so they get their feelings hurt. But
poor Molestache.
So Molestache, The Worst, Waka Trout, and Pesky Dust are four of the aliens that he turns into. And with the Omnitrix being broken, they don't have any powers, so they are useless.
Oh, Lord.
In the same episode, what was really cool was some of the villains got alien powers because the watch was messed up. And, like, I think Rook, every time he transformed into an alien, Rook would change into something too, which is really cool. But like he got turned into like Upchuck, and didn't really like it too much. But what was funny was the worst. You find out later that they do have abilities, which I kind of like and kind of don't. Because at the same time, I was really excited to see normal aliens. Because you think about it, is humans the only ones without abilities?
Well, I think they explained at one point, this might have been something McDuffie said, but the aliens that the Omnitrix normally turns you into are like the top tier versions of that alien. So it's like every one of those aliens would win gold medals in their planet's respective Olympics.
Right, but I mean, at the exact same time, the most powerful human's still the weakest thing in there then. Because even in the strongest version, it's nowhere near strong as forearms or anything like that. We're not super powered.
Yeah.
Well, while it's not superpowers to them that they all have it, forearms all have super strength. I'm just saying it would be nice to finally have some aliens that don't have powers.
Yeah.
Because in the universe, you have to run into it. I know it would make a boring thing, and this episode's a really good way to encase that. Well, it turns out all those aliens do have powers. Let's see here. You have Mustache has the ability to fight with his mustache, and he quickly became one of my favorite characters when they started using him more. He has like this very gentleman British accent. Good day, mate. And that's Australian. That's not even a good Australian. Good day, sir. Let's do this. Chop chop. And you just have these think of Skullgirls with the girl with the killer hair.
But with a mustache.
And on top of that, you have Skurd, who can turn the mustache into flaming, heat blast arms. Oh, man, it's so good. Then you have Waka Trout. Doesn't really have any powers in general. I think he's just, super slippery. And then the worst is Indestructible. That's his power. Which is not bad. You just can't fight. You just can take a punch. And then Pesky Dusk can basically has dream abilities. Can put someone to sleep and then Freddy Krueger them to death. Yeah. But it's really cute.
Aww.
Yeah.
I did like some of the plumbers. I really liked, I can't think of his name, but the fish guy, the Ripjaws, that talk like Don Knotts.
Yeah, the Rob Paulson came back. He voiced a couple of different characters. He voiced a lot of villains, one of the Dorito brothers. But then he came back. He voices Don. I forgot what his name is. It's Magic or something.
Yeah.
But it's but ban.
And I assume that was all just a reference to I think it was the Fantastic Mr. something or other, where it's like Don Knotts gets turned into a fish.
Maybe.
It was an animated movie.
Oh, probably then. That was really cool. I like the worst. Or not the worst. The mustache is the one that got offended when he turns. This guy's terrible. I'm right here. Dreba. I can't remember what the other one's name is.
Is it like Grisick or something?
No. It's like something in Dreba. I don't know.
But they were a comedy duo.
They were really good. In fact, a lot of the background characters were super well designed. It was really cool to see, there was in Undertown, which is, I feel like we talked a lot about Omniverse, but we didn't talk a lot about Omniverse. And one of the big things of Omniverse they changed up was it turns out there's an alien city underneath Bellwood. And there's a bunch of different species. Argent lives there. There was a family of Accelerates. But they all have unique designs, which is something that you didn't really see with the original series, because we have the design, we gotta keep it close to it. With Omniverse, it was just everyone's different size, shapes, just like the humans, they were all each one was unique, and it was really cool to see.
Yeah, no, it was a great addition. It reminded me of I think it was Legion of Superheroes, where every time there were aliens in the background, even the same species had a real variety.
Yeah, definitely. You know what I might do for a digital sketchbook is draw aliens, famous ones, but with the Ben 10 Omniverse style.
That'd be great. Oh, yeah. Gosh.
The alien, the xenomorph, Alf.
Predator.
Yeah, that'd be fun. I'm trying to think. By the way, guys, I might be bringing back digital sketchbook. I'm just trying to think of cool themes. It would be 5 drawings, but each of them a theme. I want to spend a little bit more time on them so they're not super sketchy. But because right now I'm kind of playing around with the schedule where it's Mondays are the podcast. We'll see if that happens. We keep filming on Sundays, and this thing takes a while. Though with it rendering and me uploading during school, it might work out pretty well. I want Wednesdays to be digital sketchbook, and then obviously Fridays would be the Watch Me Draws, and Sundays would be the Watch Me Draw commentaries. And that gives, like, there's never more than 2 days without a video from me, which would be pretty cool. Yeah. Speaking of which, let's talk about, I think for the most part we covered most of what we want to talk about Ben 10. And to wrap things up, I want to talk about, like, hey, what I wanted to do this in the beginning, but we got so excited about talking about stuff that we skipped over it. But what are you watching, and what are you playing, and what have you been doing?
Alrighty. Watching, I've been probably doing more watching than gaming right now. So I've been watching Flash, really great show, really brings the lightheartedness that's been missing from a lot of superhero stuff. And the main character just really pulls off, like, he's Barry Allen, but he has a lot of elements of, like, the Justice League animated Flash, where he's a little witty. Okay,
I love witty superheroes.
Yeah, and he's just got this joy. They give him a dark past, which you really don't need for the Flash, but he's still got this kind of joy at being a superhero.
Okay. So when I think of Flash, I think of someone cocky.
Yeah. He's got, I mean, and the actor playing him is almost adorable in his alternate identity, because he's just this small, skinny forensics investigator.
Speaking of the Flash, I'm thinking about, like, the Days to Future Past Quicksilver is basically how I picture the personality of the Flash being, only less of a crook.
Yeah, no, it's you're not too far off. There's kind of this trope of speedsters being quick, witty, and a little bit of a brat.
Yeah.
And it gets even worse when they get younger, because, like, you have Flash, and then he eventually gets Kid Flash.
Yeah.
And Kid Flash eventually gives way to Impulse. So I'm just like, oh god, give this kid some Ritalin and get him away from me.
Oh man, Impulse and Young Justice, I loved him because he was the voice of Gear from Static Shock.
Oh, nice.
Which I'm a big fan of Static Shock.
Oh, yeah.
Which apparently is getting a live action show.
I'm hearing rumors of they might bring him into the Flash.
Okay.
Because they do basically a big bang.
Okay.
That gives a whole bunch of people powers. Alongside the Flash.
Because, man, Static Shock was such a good show. First season kind of sucks. It had too much of that, like, jab talking, you know what I mean? That sounds really racist.
They tried too hard.
They tried too hard to give it, like, that not hipster, but, that hip language, and it just didn't work. It felt really fake and forced.
But then they just made him a normal kid.
Yeah, season 2 and beyond, the art style changed, his costume changed, looked a lot better, and all the characters started acting human. It was good.
Yeah. I loved Gear's story in that.
Apparently in the comics, the two characters that he's based off of, one of them was gay. And Gear never really, like, he definitely hit on girls, but he never really had a girlfriend.
They mentioned him having a kid, I think, in one of the Batman Beyond episodes. Okay. But, I mean, that doesn't mean anything.
No, not anymore. Apparently there's one gay guy that was I think it was my roommate's high school, that, He basically, like, because sometimes they'll sleep with, girls will sleep with them just because, get their rocks off, no strings attached. The most ultimate way, I mean, like, if you're going to have no strings attached sex, why not someone that's not attracted to you, And apparently he has 12 kids now.
Oh, God. But, let's see. We can cut that part out later.
Nope.
Oh, man.
Nope. Everything goes.
Alrighty. Let's see, I've also been watching Gotham, which kind of dull set-wise, but you kind of expect that with Gotham City. It's a dank, dirty city. The people playing, like, Commissioner Gordon, the kid playing young Bruce Wayne, probably the best Batman we've ever had live action-wise.
Really?
The kid just nails it.
Is it any George Clooney?
No. This kid is just like, he feels like somebody who really has faced tragedy and is trying to go through in his head, how do I fix this?
Okay.
And you see a kid on screen go through all these emotions and kind of start balling them up into this purpose that, we would expect from our
neighborhood bat fetishist.
Well, just from a Batman who never gives up. Let's see. I've been watching Constantine. It's based on a comic book. It feels a little more like supernatural than anything.
Okay.
But they do keep in the fact that Constantine, while in the movie that a lot of people know him from, it was primarily Judeo-Christian. This one, he's using a different religion's exorcism every episode. So if it's one episode it's Jewish, next one it's Hindu,
Okay.
So, they keep some good variety. Game-wise, I've been playing Final Fantasy Realm Reborn.
Is it the online MMO
Yeah,
one?
the MMO, and it's the only MMO I've ever played that actually feels kind of like a JRPG.
That's more MMOs than I've played.
Yeah.
I've never played any.
Well, it's like, I think the fact that I can just plug in an Xbox controller and play it helps.
Yeah. Sorry, I think I hear my phone.
Oh.
No, it sounds like a Wii here too, so I don't know. Yeah. Let's see here. For me, I've been playing DuckTales Remastered for the channel. I've been as you guys know, I announced that I'm going to be starting a gaming channel because I want a device, and I've recorded the playthrough like 3 times because I listened to it. I'm like, this is boring. This isn't very exciting. Which the whole point of the gaming channel was supposed to be like, oh, just have a little fun, just play through it. And then I'm over here like, this isn't good enough. I did find out Tryhard Ninja. I'm working with him on making a music video right now. And I was like, hey, do you mind watching this and telling me advice? He goes, I don't know what you're worried about. It's pretty good. And he's like, oh, okay, cool. So it's not like boring or anything. So that's exciting. What I'm going to probably wind up doing is playing a couple of different games for it, like for the channel, and then uploading them. Right now I got 4 parts, and each one's it's somewhere between 10 minutes and 20 minutes long.
Cool.
And I was going to do Brain Dead 13. It's a really retro. It's kind of like Dragon Lair, sorry. But it doesn't work with the PS3 and my PS3. Apparently they do not like recording devices. You have to buy an additional piece. And so I'm going to kind of wait until one of the YouTube checks come in. I'll let the channel itself buy it versus...
Yeah. Well, I mean, you could just find an old PlayStation.
Oh, no, even that... Well, that one wouldn't have HDMI, so I wouldn't be able to record it. Yeah. I really want to play... I'm in the hankering to play Digimon World. But again, without the recording, because now I'm like, oh man, I want to play this. Well, I should do this for the channel,
I see.
And then for besides that, I'm planning on playing Bayonetta 2. I just gotta get into that. For things I'm watching, I finished American Horror Story season 3. That was a chore. I don't care for it. I liked season 1 and 2 a lot, but the season 3 felt very unfocused. I really didn't know where it was going because it didn't really have any direction.
I don't even remember there being a theme for the 3rd one.
It's witches. That's it.
Oh, okay.
It's Coven.
See, I don't watch it. I just know each one usually had American Horror Story was just classic haunted house.
Then you had Asylum, which had that one was focused, but not one character ran into aliens, one character was possessed by a demon. It was just a bunch of different stuff. While Murder House season 1 was just nothing but ghosts. That's the plot. It was ghosts. That's it. Paranormal. Then you have season 2, which is an asylum full of people that have seen a lot of crazy stuff. Demons and ghosts and, aliens. And then this one's just, it's voodoo and magic is the theme. But there's no art going along. I don't know. It seems like a mess. And I'm glad I'm finally done with it. Obviously, I really want to see Freak Show. Is my main driving force to keep going. And I think that's really the only thing I watched.
I have been, our roommate, my roommate, had never seen the first Avatar: The Last Airbender series.
Oh yeah, that's right. I walked over there while I was watching it.
So we've been going through that with him. We're to the end of season 2, and he's really enjoying it. And he enjoyed Korra because he was basically watching it over our shoulder. Well, we were on season 3, so...
season 3 of Korra is so good.
You can tell each season they were... first season they were trying to correct problems they had with the first season. Or,
the second season was trying to correct the first season.
Kind of overshot its mark. 3 hits the mark dead on, and 4 is kind of just feeling like it's basically an epilogue.
Yeah, it's finishing stuff up. There's some interesting stuff going on.
I love the progression of the world, though. The march of technology in a world of spirits.
Yeah, no, it's cool. By the way, when we say we're watching, these are us binge watching stuff. We're clearly, I'm watching Ninja Turtles, and I'm watching, Gravity Falls, Steven Universe, and I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna start talking about we'll have topics that way, general. Because I don't know, this actually seems a little bit more interesting than us talking about the one thing the whole time. Mm-hmm. So maybe we'll just talk about this is the first time doing podcasts for both of us, so it's a little bit of a learning thing, and I appreciate all 2,300 people at the time of this recording that watched the first episode, and I don't know how many of you guys are going to carry over, but you guys are awesome. Really appreciate you, and we'll find our way. I think by episode 5 we'll probably have a pretty good thing going. No, this is the worst thing.
There's no network to cancel us, so that's good.
Yeah, it's just as soon as like there's no views, like everyone's like, "Ooh, it's a RayQuest podcast." I'm done with that. No more of that. Done.
Well, we'll make sure we jump the shark before that.
But I think
we'll saddle up the lizard and have an action figure ride him over a shark.
Right now, Kaiju's sleeping in his hammock. It's kind of adorable. But yeah, so I don't think he ate today, honestly. I put food up, but he's just like, I'm just going to lay here.
It's like, it's winter, I don't want to leave this lamp.
He might actually start. Apparently I found out that they go through beermitation, where they just basically hibernate for like 3 months. You don't feed them, they just sleep. I don't like that.
Yeah, that's worrisome.
Yeah, it's like, is he alive? Buddy?
It's like, get the poking stick out.
You're the closest thing to a best friend I got right now. Sorry, Tristan.
That's okay. Lizards make great friends.
They do. No, Tristan's
I shed skin like a lizard, but that's...
Man, see, now we gotta cut that out. I'm okay.
I'm actually a lizard sapien.
Oh, great. Well, okay, I think we have stretched this long enough. Hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. And by the way, if you want to follow Tristan, he is...
It's XENOTHROPE at Twitter, and...
I'm just gonna link it down below.
It's gonna become a gimmick.
It is. You know, you should just change it to the Bitter Nerd. Like, I think that's easier to search.
Yeah, I really should.
Check to see if it's there. Alright, so look up at the Bitter Nerd. Because it's a good model. By the way, guys, he's thinking about... Like I said, he really is big into toys. I know he's thinking about making a channel where he reviews toys. At least the ones he can afford.
Yeah.
$120 Omnitrix, but Optimus Primes.
You know you'd be all over like a prop replica Omnitrix.
I had one only because your friend gave it to me. Apparently, his friend found a Omnitrix in the dumpster, and...
I remember that now.
And he just brought it to school. I was like, here, buddy, I know you like Ben 10. I was like, oh, no, I don't even talk about it. How do you know my dark shame?
But yeah, I am planning, as soon as the Power Rangers Dino Charge toys hit the shelves, to buy some of those and do reviews of them.
So if you're interested in that, check out his channel. We'll put probably not now.
Yeah, I'll wait till I have something worthwhile on there.
And then, by the way, guys, if you're interested for mine, StevRayBro is the channel. There's only one video. It's test footage of Mario Kart 8, just to see if I can get 60 frames per second. Looks great. Awesome. If you wanna be like really cool, I think I have 4 subscribers right now.
Hipster subscribers.
If you want to be the first ones, go for it now. And yeah, I mean, follow me on Twitter and everything else. And I'll see you guys next week. I don't know what the theme is. What should Gravity Falls? That's gonna be the theme.
I need to catch up on that. So
people really wanted Gravity Falls last week. They made.
I still need to watch Zeus and the Real Girl. So.
Oh man, it's such a good episode. It's my favorite.
It's like I got the site you linked me to for watching stuff to work because
on DVD.
Yes, yes. I bought it on Amazon. Wait, is it out yet for Gravity Falls?
There is one, but I refuse to buy it. There's 2 of them actually. I refuse to buy it until they come out with season sets.
You heard us, Disney. We make our demands.
Yeah, this podcast with 2,000 viewers. Demands it.
Hey, that's 2,000 people that could be buying that DVD season box set.
If you bought it. Alright, let's end this. Again, I hope you guys enjoyed it, and we'll see you guys next week with a Gravity Falls theme. That means I'm drawing us in Gravity Falls style.
Later.
Bye.
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 Later.
Bye.